Hey, what's up? This is Raider Ty Brown, and you're listening to Raider Homer podcast radio show. What's up, Raider Homer? Raider Nation repping good.
Hey, Raider Nation, it's Raider Puppet. Come join me, Raider Homer, Oakland Raider 7 at the Fremont Country Club, September 12th, 2021 for the Raider Crusaders Raider Nation home opener season kickoff party, hosted by Lincoln Kennedy. Special guest, Lester Hayes. 2 rooms, 2 DJs, 2 full bars, 2 VIP lounges. Come on, bring everybody. Come on down and join us at the Raider Nation home opener season kickoff party. Yeah, Fremont Country Club. Raider Puppet.
This is T3 Raider Facts from the Only Nation podcast and host of the Raider Roots podcast. You're listening to Monday Nights Live with Raider Homer on the Raider Homer channel. Stay strong, Raider Nation. Raiders!
We've been battered and bruised, and we've moved and come back. Our colors don't change. We're silver and black. Commitment to excellence starts up every year. No powers on earth will drown out our cheer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of our mighty silver and black, and unto these colors for which we stand, Raider Nation under a groove, with free speech and liberty. Remember the tools. He who has ears, let him hear. I hereby declare I am a Raiders fan. I am a Raiders fan.
Hello, Raider Nation. Welcome back to Monday Nights Live. I'm Raider Homer, and of course, I started off this show with technical difficulties. So it's safe to say I may never see the Hall of Fame. But tonight on Monday Nights Live, we are celebrating the Hall of Fame. And we got 3 Raiders. Count them. 1, 2, 3 Raiders going in this year. We're going to hear from 2 of them tonight. The first call is going to be Wayne. So I'm excited. I guess I should have read all this. All right. Welcome to Monday Nights Live, Raider Nation. I'm Raider Homer, and I'm your host. And tonight I have 4 more great guests lined up for you. So let's go over how Monday Nights Live works. It's structured like a football game, but instead of 4 quarters, we have 4 callers / time slots, and sometimes we have multiple callers in a time slot. We break for the halftime show after the second caller, and during the halftime show, we will hear from viewers on Raider Homer's Phone Blitz. So Blitzers, get your calls in by 8 p.m. CST. Call 512-298-2407. Or you can leave your shout-outs in the chat line, and I'll read those out after each caller. After the Phone Blitz, we go into Raider Homer's halftime show featuring Oakland Raider Savage and the Raider Puppet. And as I was just talking about, kicking off tonight's show, we're going to have Wayne Mabry, a.k.a. the Violator. He's going to come on to talk about going into the Ford Hall of Fans, y'all. It's a big weekend coming up for everybody in the Raider Nation, especially Wayne and Coach. And we're going to hear from Coach later. Let me keep going. Now, following Wayne, we're going to hear from Ken Thomson of SportsX Radio, who has been a long time friend of the channel too. All right, now kicking off the second half of the show, we have part 1 of Monday Nights Live, first best of replays featuring Tom Flores. Once again, we're going to hear from Tom Flores, who is going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, and I will be there to experience it. Man, I'm excited. I'm so excited I jumped the gun and didn't read my script. I'm excited, y'all. This is a big weekend for the Raider Nation, as I said before. All right, closing out the show, we will hear part 2 of Monday Nights Live, first best replay featuring Tom Flores. All right, this is an interview that I did with him last year. So, man, I was super excited. It turned out to be pretty good. So I was, I'm happy. This is a crowning achievement, I guess, on my channel. Something that I'm very proud of, And shout out to Polo Rodriguez for setting all this up with Coach Flores last year. Looking forward to seeing Polo at the Hall of Fame events this weekend, when they will be having another autograph session with Tom Flores. So, hey guys, if you got the time and the ability to get to Canton this weekend, get there, y'all. Get there. Big things going on. All right, cool. And of course, we're going to have an overtime guest, a friend of the family, to close out the show because we have some pre-recordings that we're going to listen to. So be sure to go to the RaiderHomerChannel.buzzsprout.com. There you will find links to all my social media accounts as well as to my podcast on whatever podcasting app you listen to. If you are a subscriber to the Raider Homer channel, our next subscription raffle will be after we hit 700 subscribers, and we will be raffling off Chucky Stugs merch. We're going to raffle off some koozies in an envelope, and we're going to raffle off some flags that you can use for their flag challenge coming up this year. All you got to do is get yourself into the stadium, get some footage of yourself holding a flag in the stadium, of course DVR it at home, and then go home and send that footage to Chucky Stugs, and you can win $500, y'all. All right, Chucky Stugs doing some good things, all right? You can also go to chuckystugs.com where you can get you a color-changing coffee mug, as well as some of the other great Raider Nation merch that we've talked about. Use promo code Homer to get 15% off of your order, and use Homer Flag to get $9.99 off of your flag to enter this flag contest that they got coming up. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee, go to buymeacoffee.com/OnlyNationPod. And of course, if you'd like to buy one of my One Nation Homer Shield patches, message me or go to jr60brands.com and we'll get your order squared away. Now let's stay on JR60 Brands right now. Joker's got a raffle going on. All right, a lot of y'all have seen this post. He says people have spent $50 on scratch-off tickets or lottery tickets with little or no chance to win. The odds here are better, and with a grand prize that gives you $1,000 and 2 black hole tickets to a prime time game. Runner-up gets $500. These are the prices for this game. You will sit directly behind the highlighted seats, which are selling for $2,000 each. All right, the approximate value of the grand prize is $5,000. Go to www.jr60brands.com and enter this raffle, y'all. Look, those tickets are expensive, but people like Joker Raider are doing great things and offering you a chance to get into these games for a hell of a lot less and have some fun raffling. All right, cool. And this week's Raider mailbag, I got nada, but it's all good. It's all good. And we didn't collect any Raider Nation swag as well. No big deal. No big deal at all. All right, but be sure to hit up everybody from the past week's segments for the Raider Nation mailbag and Raider Nation swag segment and get some Raider Nation merch of your own. All right, so time for some quick hits Raider news. Kenyon Drake, Jalen Richard, and Darius Stills are back at practice. Jalen Richard, not necessarily happy about taking the COVID vaccination, as a lot of people aren't. So there is some talk whether he was going to be able to, play on the team or not. Apparently he's back. But, listen to the Only Nation podcast and you'll get my take on this situation, which Hondo Carpenter released an article today talking about DJ Turner's ability to open up the roster and maybe allow the Raiders to keep people from different position groups that they may not have been able to, because DJ Turner is this joker, no pun intended, but he's that joker that we were looking for in Bowden. So let's see how this works out. But go ahead and listen to the Only Nation podcast. Unfortunately, Mike Mayock, and this just broke today while I was listening to Raider Nation Radio, Mike Mayock tested positive for COVID-19 and will be working from home. He was vaccinated, but now they're saying that the vaccination will slow and help you get over this virus. So, hey, heads up, stay safe, right? You still got to be washing your hands, still be wearing your mask, still take this seriously. We're not out of the woods yet. Respect each other so that we can still enjoy going to these places that we've been going and seeing each other at. So, be careful out there, Raider Nation. And as I said, you can get a more detailed look into the Raider news by listening to the Only Nation podcast with Heidi Stabbert and T3 Raider Facts, as well as myself by going to OnlyNationPod.com. Announcements. The Raider Homer channel will be broadcasting from the Lorenzo Lerma season kickoff party in Las Vegas. You saw the video earlier with Puppet giving out the details. We will be broadcasting there. Lester Hayes is going to be there. Lincoln Kennedy is going to be there. DJs, VIP, it's going to be a blast, Raider Nation. Make sure you contact Lorenzo Lerma to get your tickets. All right, Raider Homer's pregame show will include Oakland Raider Savage and Raider Puppet A, and that is getting closer and closer, y'all. So I'm excited to bring that to you. And Mark Reyes, a.k.a. Talking Raider Shield, is returning to the pregame show for a third straight season to help me out with 3 keys to victory yet again, which is our opening segment where me and Talking Raider Shield give our 3 keys to victory, which will kind of lay out what we'll be talking about in our approach to each episode. So keep an eye out for that, Raider Nation. Shout out Glenn R. Bowens in Oklahoma. Hey, I appreciate you giving me that shout out on Raider Nation Radio, Glenn. That was cool to hear, somebody give Raider Homer a shout out. Because I talk to Hondo a lot, they're always, communicating with me. So it was cool to have somebody call in and give me a shout out. I'm pretty sure they're like, what? Hell, that's cool. I know I thought it was cool. Well, out in Oklahoma, get a hold of Glenn R. Bowens. He's in Oklahoma, and they are going to have Hondo Carpenter of Raider Nation Radio go out there and do like a meet and greet questionnaire. He's going to answer a bunch of questions on the team and things like that. Hondo is a really cool guy. Him and I see eye to eye on a lot of topics. So I guess you could say he's a homer, but hey, there's nothing wrong with being a homer, okay? All right, cool. So make sure you contact Glenn R. Bowens and go help the folks up in Oklahoma represent the Raider Nation the way that the Raider Nation should be represented. All right, cool. With all that being said, let's get to our first guest. All right, Raider Nation, here we go with Wayne Mabry, a.k.a. the Violator, Hall of Famer, man. How does that make you feel to hear that?
Well, Homer, it gets me all warm and fuzzy, but you know what? I'm so proud to say that all those 30 years have paid off, and just to be an ambassador representing Raider Nation, the organization itself, as a fan in Ken, man, that is truly the tip of the iceberg.
On the Loyalty Crew podcast, you had talked about, taking all of Raider Nation into the Hall of Fame with you, man. That was really awesome to hear from you, dude. And apparently, man, Raider Nation is going to show up in full force to be there. So what is the itinerary looking like so far?
Man, I'm busy from the time I get up and grab breakfast. They've got us locked in. I think there's about an hour in the day of free time, and we just going from one event to the other, shuttling back and forth from the hotel to the Hall of Fame campus, and it's going to be a full 4 days for me, man. But I'm going to soak it up like a dry sponge in dishwater, man. Just every moment of it that I can squeeze in. So I don't know how many fans I'll actually get to, celebrate with, but just knowing that they'll be there, and we'll probably get to see each other on Sunday for sure, or unless I catch them at one of the festivals there. But they pretty much got us locked in, and I understand that, Ford wants to make a big deal of this, so does the Hall of Fame. So, like I said, it's just an honor, man, just to be a part of this, because with 2 players going in, I already dubbed it Raiders trifecta, because we may never see this like this again in our lifetime.
Yeah, that's what my friend said. He said, "Are you going to the Hall of Fame?" I was like, "Well, I would like to. I'm just not sure right now." And he's like, "Dude, do not miss this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." 3 Raiders going in at the same time. I mean, and you go all the way back to the LA years with Coach Flores. You saw Woodson go and come back and, be a Raider through and through. So talk a little bit about that, because you're going in with Coach Tom Flores, man, and Charles Woodson, probably 2 of the greatest Raiders of all time. Have you had the chance to, talk to them a little bit, or, let us know what that feels like to go in with those guys?
Well, I haven't had the pleasure of talking with Coach personally. It's been a couple of years. But, I will always encourage him not to give up hope that he deserves to be in. He's long overdue. Now, I'll go back to the LA days. I never met him in person then. I met him after the team moved back to Oakland. And, he told me, so he had some interesting stories, man. And just the way that he ran that team, man, they played their butts off for him. He was like that quiet assassin, like a ninja of sorts, but you could see that fire in his eyes. I never really saw him yelling and screaming, but dude, he had that look when you know what intensity looks like. He's like, yeah, something got to him, but he was just a gentleman of the game. Even when I met him a few years back in Las Vegas at a Raider fan convention, man, so gracious, man, and he was telling one of the other fans standing around, he says, look, because I took a picture with him and Darryl LaMonica. So I'm standing between 2 legends, man, at the quarterback position. I was like a kid at the candy store. And they both just spent time talking with me, told this person, listen, this is our brother. And like I've told you before, that's the way I look at those guys from back in that era. Those are like my brothers. We all kind of grew up together. Well, they see I haven't changed over the years, and neither have they. They've retired. I'm still kind of going at it. I haven't retired yet, so let's put that notion away. I have not retired by a long shot. I was just stumping my last round, if you will, on Oakland's on that Mecca turf in Oakland.
You've been all over the place. They've been talking about you on Raider Nation Radio. They're very proud of you, as we all are. And then I heard a little bit on Raider Nation Radio that you are going to be able to attend the games. I think it was Stage Door Casino that was able to help you out. Is there any truth to that?
That was an offer extended, and like I say, until the first game there, we'll know if that comes through or not. But like I say, I'm sticking my head out there at other avenues, and yes, let's put it out there. I do not have season tickets after 37 years, but I just prayed on the whole matter. For me not to be able to continue doing what I've been doing would be, like a smear at the fan base, And I know the players are going to love hearing that noise of us in that closed dome. It's gonna blow their eardrums off, man. So I'm still like I'm a what do you call it? I'm a free agent. But come game time, I feel like some door is going to open up where I can be there every week, man, doing what I've been doing.
Yeah, man, let's hope that. I guess that would be lightning striking twice, right? Because moving or going from LA to Oakland, they set you up as well with tickets when you weren't sure you weren't going to be able to get in, right? Or if you were going to be able to get in. Is that correct, right?
That was that time when they set me up in Oakland. That was for our AFC Championship game. Yeah, at that time I could not afford the playoff tickets, and I was just talking with the reporter. You know, they always want to know what's my next move, and I was just saying it in conversation. Had no idea would end up in the San Francisco Chronicle, and that led to a phone call the day of the game, the morning of the game, and I'm still in bed. So that was the first time I flew out fully dressed out of John Wayne Airport. And brother, like I say, you'll have to read the book to get that whole story.
Yeah, man. I got that book and you signed it for me, so I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and okay, so Hall of Fame. Here we are celebrating the Hall of Fame. This, training camp started last week. We're putting on pads tomorrow, man. This is a big week. Like I said, for Raider Nation, man, how are you feeling about this roster with some of this news coming out of training camp now?
Look, I'm excited, Homer, as every, preseason about our roster. I think we made some strategic moves and to solidify, first of all, that defensive side of the ball, because Raider Nation, we all know, that's where we fell short, just in my humble opinion. We fell short on the defense because our offense can pretty much score with anybody. We just need improvement in the red zone on our offense. Up and down the field, they can move the ball. Now we've got 2 stud running backs and some good backup guys. I expect that offense to make a statement. Now the defense, I've already put out a challenge to those guys, man. You got to show some teeth this year. We got a new defensive coordinator who has a pretty decent track record, and I'm going back to his days with the Legion of Boom. If he can bring half of that to us, we can bring the boom, and the rest we should be in the playoffs, brother.
Yes, the Gus Bradley edition has me excited, man. Because yes, he helped to build this Legion of Boom that you're talking about, that helped win a Super Bowl for the Seahawks. You know what I mean? Everybody in our division seems to have won a Super Bowl since the last time we won a Super Bowl. So it is time for us to get a Super Bowl. And Gus Bradley bringing that style of defense with these young defensive backs that we've drafted, man, that would, it's setting up perfectly. Because, Gruden, when he won his Super Bowl, we won't mention that team right now, but, he had that great defense. So, as I've said many a times before, MD, if I'm MD, I'm saying build this defense. And it looks like they went that way because Gruden's offense is always just plug and play. You know what I mean? It doesn't quite matter. Aguilar, whoever, you put in some guys that are going to perform in his offense. He's just that kind of play caller. But he has to have that defense that allows him to be, comfortable in his play calls, because a lot of people complain about him being conservative, but he does like to run the ball, which makes him conservative. But if he has that defense that can, get some 3-and-outs or get some turnovers, give the offense a short field, man, that's what he wants. And this offense is going to be even more prolific. So, yeah, big things coming for the Raiders and the Raider Nation, man. This roster is young. They're playing the long game. I'm really enjoying that because, Al, was doing whatever it took to win a championship, and towards the end of his career. And that kind of hurt the team in some areas. But his son, Mark Davis, is really turned it around and played this long game and allowed these coaches and his GMs to really start to build rosters. And even though he's had a couple of coaching changes, he's been able to, hold on to a good player like Derek Carr. So, man, I'm excited. Like I said, we got the Hall of Fame weekend coming up. We got pads on tomorrow. I got Ken Thomson coming on. Tom Flores. We're going to replay his interview. This is exciting, man. So, but hey, I know that you have some. Go ahead.
No, I said, if that don't get you pumped up and get that silver and black juice going, then you really ain't a diehard. Just listen as you talk, I got goosebumps sitting here. Like I say, man, the team needs to just reestablish that warrior mentality. Go out there setting the tone. All those cliches that we grew up hearing. It was real because I saw it, and I'm just waiting to see a glimpse of that come back again, brother. And it's going to be on because they know there's a lot of pressure from us as a fan base. We always bring our A game, But we put the challenge to them. Listen, live up to that shield. It's about honoring that shield. Like defending this house, well, defend that shield.
Absolutely. United under the shield and defend the shield. You always have some great sayings, man. Enjoy the moments, planting seeds, and you've been coming up with some different products. Now, you have some products right now that are supposed to help you with your immune system. Is that correct?
Definitely so. And anybody can hit me up on my social media platforms. The name of the company is Fitline. I'm an independent distributor. So anybody interested, hit me up with an address or hit me a text. I can give you samples to try. The product will sell itself.
All right. Now, you've been all over the place. How many more radio interviews do you have lined up? Now, I know Ken Thomson wants you on tomorrow night. So how many more you got lined up for this week?
2 more so far this week. Because like I say, I leave out of here early Wednesday, and I'll be gone till next Tuesday. So I've got, I'm going to do podcast with Ref Guru here at 6 o'clock Pacific time. So that's in the wings. And like I said, then I'll go on Ken's show tomorrow and maybe close it out. I had a Zoom this morning, but that was not really team related. That's something else that's coming up in the works that you guys will hear more about as it develops.
All right, cool. Now, speaking of Guru, I think it was last week, Raider Puppet, or the week of the celebrity softball tournament between the Knights and the Raiders, you handed Gorilla Rilla and Senor Raider a token. Now, I believe you said it was from Guru himself, right? Can you confirm that? And then if it was, can you let us know what you gave him? Because I thought that was cool.
I can't confirm it, and the pictures will prove it. But what it is just a commemorative coin. But it doesn't exist, but they know they have it. It's one of those sort of a collector's item, and it's, how do you say it? It's like a limited edition, so there will never be any more of these done. So it's commemorative, for any fan that we choose to give one to. So there's a few others out there, but they really don't exist. But they're very special in that there will never be any more like those done.
That's awesome stuff. Yeah, Guru, he's a real cool guy. I was talking to him the other day. He says he's been watching the show in his recovery. So I thought that was real cool because he's a professional. You know what I mean? And then he gave me the alumni football. So I'm thinking I got to take that to Canton, right? And get that signed if I get lucky enough, right?
Get some signatures, brother. I'm taking mine.
Yeah, so I'll definitely tune back in after this show or catch the replay, man. So I know you're real busy, and we got a long show tonight. So I appreciate all your support, for this since this channel started. I'm so excited for you, man. You deserve this. You're a humble man. You're a diehard fan, and you're a good person. So if anybody deserves this, it's definitely you. So thank you for all your support, and I'm so happy for you.
Appreciate that, brother. And like I told you, your first episode, keep doing what you're doing. Keep your show positive. Keep planting those positive seeds and enlightening Raider Nation, because a lot of them out there don't really get to communicate with us other than through these platforms. And like I say, just keep doing what you're doing, brother. This is going to grow into something bigger than you can even see right now. And just know that we support you.
Well, I appreciate the support. Now, before I let you go, tell the Raider Nation, of course, they know, but go ahead and remind the Raider Nation where they can find you on social media.
Social media, Facebook, of course, Wayne Mabry 57, Twitter at Violator 57, Instagram at Mabry Wayne. But just type in the Violator. You should see my beautiful mug pop up. You're at the right spot. And just hit me up, man. You got something to say, just say hello. But like I say, I've got some great products there for your immune system, health and beauty. So men and women, young and old, hit me up and learn about this stuff. It's just over here in the U.S. from Germany.
And you're still doing the credit repair as well, right?
Absolutely. Still a referral agent, man. So any way I can help people, that's just opening other avenues for other stuff, man. It's about passing on those blessings to others.
Absolutely. Pay it forward. I appreciate everything once again, and I'm looking forward to hearing you tonight on NFL Nation Live and tomorrow on Ken Thompson's show. So thanks again, Wayne.
Absolutely, Homer. Keep doing your thing, brother. One love.
One love. All right, Raider Nation. The one and only Wayne Mabry, a.k.a. the Violator, man. Super excited for him. He's going into the Ford Hall of Fans, man. That is how you represent the Raiders, with pride and poise and a commitment to excellence. Always great to hear from him, man. Always, always, always. All right, let's take a look at the chat line. We got Raiderette Vanessa in here. We got Raider Puppet. What's up, Raider Nation? We got Heidi Stabbard in here. Prez also Raiders in here. Anna Diaz. Who else we got in here? Raider Art. Oaktown legend, Raider Art. Oh, you'll watch your show before mine? I appreciate that, Art. I appreciate that. Let me know how I can help you, brother. Raider Squid in the house. Hey, brother, we got to get you back on the schedule for, the mental health thing. Now, I think we got our next caller, which should be Ken Thompson. So let me hop over here real quick, and I'll be right back.
I would have to say that the perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Welcome to the Death Star, where our opponent's dreams come to die.
Raiders! Raiders! Raiders!
All right, Raider Nation, here he is, Ken Thompson of SportsX Radio. Ken, thanks again for coming on the Raider Homer channel on Monday Nights Live. How you doing?
You know, Raider Homer, are you kidding me, man? Anytime I can get on there with you, man, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I'm gonna not even hesitate. I'm gonna jump on it because you are the man in Austin, Texas, no doubt.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I got to tell you, I felt pretty, good when you were saying that you're going to reschedule a previous phone call because you have an interview. I'm like, what? Awesome stuff, man. I appreciate that.
No, are you kidding me? It's awesome stuff, and I'm fired up to go to Canton just like you are. It's going to be a great connection with me, you, the Violator, Wayne Mabry, and Captain Jack Rackham getting together in Canton and, just elaborating on what we did this past year with Fan Media Network, which was outstanding, doing that Zoom deal that we got going together on Apple News, which was outstanding. But, anytime we can get together and hook up with, legends like Coach Flores and Charles Woodson, and then all Raider Nation, that's going to be there. I know not everyone's going to be able to make it, but keep people abreast of what's going on. And you know what? You and I are always glass half full guys. I really think this Raider team this year is going to be solid. And I know a lot of people that are naysayers and they're saying the schedule's too hard and KT, you're looking through silver and black colored glasses. And I'm like, yeah, I might be. But at the end of the day, my biggest wager was on the Raiders over 7 wins, minus 135 at MGM. It's up to 8 now, some of the places here in Vegas. I know it's a 17-game schedule, but I think this team's going 10-7. So, call me what you want. I back it up. I'm on the air every night. Got there last year, barely over the 7.5. We should have won 9 or 10 last year. Let's hope we start fast like we have the last 2 years and that we close just as quickly so that we can be a viable, postseason contender.
Yeah, that's the key is we have to finish the second half of the season. For the last 2 years, we started out hot. We're in the playoff contention, but then injuries start to add up, and the lack of depth really shows itself. But this front office, has really played the long game well and been able to put together a roster that has a lot of depth. And now we're looking at, who's going to start. It could be multiple people at almost any given position. Of course, there are some locks, but everybody can play different positions, and so winning 2 games and going 10-7 is definitely feasible. We went 4-12, but if you think back to that season, there were a lot of games that we had, the lead going into the first half, or even the lead going into the fourth quarter that we lost that game. That we lost, we could have easily been 8, and 8 then 7-9, and then now 8-8 last year. This Gruden always seems to improve. Now I know he had some decline in Tampa, but that's just Tampa. You know what I mean? This team, they're allowing him to do what he wants to do, and I think that he learned enough of. I think he learned enough out there to know that when he needs to make a decision and when he needs to let other people make decisions. And he's letting other people make decisions that are allowing him to focus on this team and get this young roster together. Yeah, 10 and 7, 11 and 6, definitely something that we can do. Now, being in the AFC West and in the AFC in general, do you think 10 and 7 is enough to get us in the playoffs?
I do. I think 10 and 7 is going to get us there. I mean, because we're going to get wins inside the conference. It is key that we, that we sweep, to me, the Chargers and Denver. If we can get that split with KC right there, we're looking at 5-1 inside the AFC West. And I know it's not going to be easy to beat the Chargers twice. I do like that we have Gus Bradley and we have Hayward coming over from the Chargers that know the young quarterback really well. And, as good as he would, as good as Herbert was, again, now there's film on him. So you're going to be able to prepare a little bit better. They don't have Hunter Henry as a tight end any longer. They still have outstanding receivers and, good solid defense. They're a solid squad. But I don't think the Chargers are any better than the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders may have improved themselves, like you were saying, depth-wise, as well as anybody. And that's not even including the draft choices outside of Merrick from TCU, who's got a great chance to start because this guy was a stud. And, so people poo-poo the draft and say, well, what are we doing taking Leatherwood with our first-round pick? Well, Merrick was a projected first-round pick on just about everybody's card. So we got him second round, and we got Leatherwood first round. So if you flip-flop those guys, who cares? Either way, we would have grabbed Leatherwood in the second round at that same spot that we got Merrick. So we'll take that. Kuntz is a young guy that's got potential. He's not going to be a Khalil Mack out of Buffalo, but nonetheless, this kid's got potential. Diablo's another guy that could step up. But when you look at, bringing in guys like Carl Joseph, getting him back into the silver and black with that veteran leadership and talking about Casey Hayward coming over from the Chargers that knows Gus Bradley's system, I think these guys are key. I think Trayvon Mullen is already a polished corner. I think this guy's going to be one of the best corners in the game in the near future. And then you've got guys like Abram who understand, yes, I've got to tone it down a little bit and pace myself. I can't put 140% on every play and risk my body the way I do with reckless abandon. And I think he realizes that. I'm not sold on Damon Arnett yet, but I know he really didn't have a chance, to get his feet wet when we look at what happened with the COVID protocol and whatnot. Dougie, just like me, Homer, it's tough when you don't have a chance to get that cohesiveness and those reps, and then you're kind of trial by error. And there's games that we gave away. We did steal the Jets game. We should never be in a position against a team like that in that predicament. We stole that game, but, we gave away the Miami game, which was, pathetic, to say the least. So can this team clean up and win games they're supposed to win, and then, take some games where other people are looking at them and saying, they're just the Raiders, they're gonna flounder. I think we've got potential, and I think it's really important that we get out of the gate that first game in Vegas, fans in the stands, at least right now, that's what we're projecting. We can do that on that opening Monday night against Baltimore. That's key, because if not, we're looking at 6 days to prepare, really 5 when you talk about, getting out of there Monday night late. Tuesday's a wash, basically. You'll look at some film, but then you got to go and be ready in Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. And we know they're going to be, chomping at the bit to get a win and get Roethlisberger back in the swing of things, although I don't think he'll ever be that guy that he was. But nonetheless, they're going to be at home. We're going to be on a short week. If we have the momentum of beating Baltimore going into Pittsburgh, I think we have a great chance to go 2-0 out of the gate.
Yes, yeah. Well, in order to do that, this defense really has to step on the field playing well game one. But Gus Bradley, as Wayne was talking about, he helped put together the Legion of Boom. So I believe that he can use these young defensive backs and get them in the right position to get us those wins. And as far as winning the division, I'll go back a little bit. For me, my bold prediction, and I said this on Raider Nation Radio, is that we will sweep the Chiefs and win the division. So I believe that we will get into the playoffs. Now, I think that the Chargers, they're still a little bit of a wild card. Now, you're right. Herbert, they got the film on him now, so he's going to hit that sophomore wall. But I think that he's just he is a wild card. You know what I mean? He's hungry and is still going to be reckless and abandoned. So I think that we'll split with them. But I believe that we're gonna sweep the Chiefs. You know, so I think that we have to do that if we want to get into the playoffs.
Hold on, Homer, hold on now, man. Listen, I love you to death, man. But if you tell me we're splitting with the Chargers and maybe splitting with Denver and we're sweeping the Chiefs, all I know is whatever they're serving down in Austin, I want one of those, man.
Well, yeah. Next time I'll pass it to the left. No, but I think we'll sweep the Chiefs and the Broncos, but I think the Chargers are gonna end up splitting with us because last year we played up to the Chiefs. You know what I mean, and we almost got out of there with 2 victories. If it weren't for Abram coming down and leaving Kelsey wide open in the end zone, we had a shot to win that game. And I just think that the Chargers, they're just the wild card. But whatever, it is what it is. Now, Hall of Fame weekend's coming up, man, and we're going to be in there, dude. You got a lot of things coming up. We've been mentioning Tom Flores coming on your channel. Talk a little bit about Tom Flores because you've seen almost his entire career. So talk a little bit about Tom Flores and what he means to you as a radio guy because you've interviewed him enough times to really get a good feel for him as the man outside of, what we see in football world.
Yeah, and I got to date myself, man. I have seen his whole career pretty much outside of a player. But, as far as his coaching, assistant coach in the win over Minnesota, I mean, and again, he's going to be the first Hispanic getting in that Hall of Fame. He's also going to be the first and only to be a winner as a player, an assistant coach, and 2-time winner as a Super Bowl coach. Mike Ditka is the only other one that's done that as a player, assistant coach, and a head coach, but he only won the 1 Super Bowl in '85. Where Coach Flores, and most people that don't know the Raiders really think, because Madden's got the game, that Madden won 2 Super Bowls out of the 3, when in fact he only won the 1, and it's Coach Tom Flores that won the 2. So this guy, to me, I always joked with him, when he wore that sweater and, now he's in Vegas, he'll go in and out of Vegas. He lives in Palm Springs, California. But I said, Coach, back when you were coaching, I said, you look like the nightclub singer. You look like the pit boss. I mean, you look like you belonged in Vegas. I said, now, Vegas, you've done some broadcasting there for a little bit. But, I mean, this guy's 20 years in the broadcast booth after his playing career and coaching career. I mean, 6 decades he's dedicated to the NFL. And this is a pretty amazing guy. But he's also a very modest guy, and he's a patient man. And he knew that he was being passed over. There were times that he really didn't think he was going to get in, and all he wanted was to be able to go in with his best buddy, Cliff Branch. And in fact, he was actually at the Hall of Fame at an induction ceremony when Cliff, passed away down in Arizona, in Bullhead City, Arizona, I think it was. And he got wind of it when he was there, and he was just broken. So I told Coach Flores, I said, well, Coach, I'm glad you're going in now, because I hate to say the word posthumously, man. I always screw it up. And he said, well, that's good for me too. And I said, yeah, Coach, it is good for you. But this guy's a class act. He's just a superhuman being. He's somebody that will always dot the I's, cross the T's, and make sure he's prepared. And then he'll have something up his sleeve. He's always got something there that, whether it was coaching, whether it was playing, he's always had something extra that he felt he could rely on just in case things didn't go according to plan. And then he's always somebody that gives his time. And like I said, he's done it for me for many times during my radio show, even when I knew he was short on time, or maybe he didn't even have the time, or just wasn't in the mood. But somehow he gutted it out and would extend himself. He's a very selfless man. And that's why I told him today when I talked to him on the phone, I said, Coach, I love Charles Woodson. He's a hell of a player. And my wife's from Wisconsin. So, she rooted for him as a Packer. I rooted for him as a Raider. And he's going in, and that's great. But I said, Coach, I'm going to Canton because of you. You're a guy that's dedicated your life. You're a class act on and off the field. And I just appreciate you. And I'm very blessed that I know you. So I'll be there, with the family and friends of Coach Flores. And I'll be looking forward to that. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you and Violator and Captain Jack. But it's going to be real special Sunday night when Coach Flores goes in.
Absolutely. And if you need any help carrying your bags around or whatever, let me know, and I'll help you carry your bags to and from this place you're going to hang out with Coach Flores, okay?
Oh, here's the thing. You just put on that Homer head, man. You're just going to walk right by. Nobody's going to card Homer Simpson, man. You kidding me?
All right, cool. I'm going to remember that then. Now you just mentioned Wayne, and we just had Wayne on a little while ago. Of course, we do the Raiders Superfan show with Wayne on Fan Media Network, as you were talking about earlier, man. But working with the Hall of Famer ourselves, man, on a show. How excited are you for Wayne? Because for me, as a fan, to see him go in and represent the fans, the Raider Nation in the Hall of Fame, man, and to have worked with the man, you know what I mean? I'm super stoked about that, as well as I am for Charles and Coach. But, man, way to go, Wayne, you know what I mean?
I know. He's an incredible man. I mean, the Violator, Mississippi kid, transitions out to SoCal, wants to be close to Raider Nation, been donning the war paint for 4 decades, and just somebody that always makes time for charitable organizations and or events. Loves to help out kids, especially special needs kids. That's right up Wayne's alley. And I remember, the first time I really got to know him, there was an event for high school football brain trauma, and it was my buddy's son that nearly died. And when he survived, my buddy and his wife said, we just want to get back, because they started doing research and realized, there's money put away for, the NFL, for CTE and all that good stuff, and focusing in on it after what happened with Duerson and Sayal and guys like that. And so they started putting money and research into it, and the colleges as well. But who was doing anything for high schools, right? Nobody even thinking about the high schools. And so my buddy does this event, and he got he knew several of the Raider players, and he got some of them. And then I brought some players up as well, some Hall of Famers, and we had all these players from Raiders to Niners to Jonathan Ogden came up with me from the Ravens. And, you realize, as much as you love the silver and black uniform, as my dad told me, son, you'll realize someday it's not just the man, it's not just the uniform, it's the man in the uniform. And so you realize that. And that's Wayne Mabry, man. I mean, that's him. That's Mark Ocasio, the gorilla. That's Senior. That's a lot of people. That's yourself, Dougie. You guys, you have that passion. But Wayne's been doing it for better than 4 decades. And like I said, this guy is one of the most selfless people. And people that don't know Raider Nation fans, there's no group of collective fans that I've ever met. And that's what attracted me to Raider Nation. That's what attracted me to the silver and black. Not just the team and the players, but those fans, those iconic fans, and those people that give their lives, not just on Sundays or Monday nights or Thursday nights now, but all the time, always representing. And many lean years. In fact, a lot of the younger guys, and gals, they don't know what it's like to win a Super Bowl, because it's been a long time. But they give of themselves. They love what they do. And Wayne Mabry's been doing it for a long time. So when he got that opportunity to go into the Fan Hall of Fame, sponsored by Ford, we were all making sure every day that we were voting and getting the word out. And there's nobody that deserves it more than that man. And I'm just fired up. And like you said, we were blessed to work with him this past week. But there's a guy, that literally, takes time out for everybody every single day. Doesn't matter who they are. That's just the way he is. And, V57, man. I mean, get some of those cigars, support that man. And, just understand what a special human being he is, because they don't make him like the Violator, too often. Like I said, there's some great iconic Raider Nation fans and silver and black state fans and black hole fans. They're the best in the business. But like I said, when you get someone finally going into what they have for fans as a Hall of Fame, Wayne will be the first of, I'm sure, many iconic Raider fans to go in there. I expect Mark Ocasio, the gorilla, to follow suit, and Senior and several of those black hole fans to follow suit. But Wayne will lead off. He'll be our leadoff batter and get in there, and it couldn't happen to a better human being.
Absolutely. You know what? And I'm going to say something. We should all push for Raider Dave Monzo to get into the Hall of Fame. You just mentioned the Black Hole. He is the original founder of the Black Hole. So, yeah, hopefully more to come, because the Raider Nation should be represented in the Hall of Fame, because, I'm a fan of the fans as well as the team. But, there is no team without the fans. All the sponsorships you get, that's based on viewers and who these people can sell their product to. So, we are a huge part of this league and these teams, and I'm excited. And there's plenty that deserve it as well. But Ken, we're going on 18 minutes, so we got to get Tom Flores' best of replay. So I appreciate you coming on tonight and giving us this flurry of information. Dude, your show is great. So tell the Raider Nation where they can go to listen to your show.
Yeah, SportsX Radio. You can hit sportsxradio.com. There's a listen live link. If you're anywhere in Nevada, it's 720 on the AM side, 101.5 on the FM side, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific. But that archive with no commercials, that is up about 45 minutes after the broadcast, 11 p.m. Pacific time. Just go to sportsxradio.com. Lots of great guests, and it goes right to Facebook. And if you follow me on Twitter at KenThompson87 or at SportsXRadio, you'll get that tweet of the show right to your handle.
All right. Appreciate it, Ken. Thanks again. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
You're the best, Dougie. Dougie, God bless, brother. We'll talk before. I'll let you know as soon as I get out there, and I'll look forward to seeing you Friday.
All right, cool. Have a good one. Safe travels.
All right, buddy.
All right, Raider Nation. Ken Thomson of SportsX Radio. Strong supporter of the Raider Homer channel. Hey, guys, if you want to get the calls in real quick, it's 512-298-2407. I didn't get to do that last time because Ken was calling. We're trying to move fast, though. We got the halftime show coming up. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're doing. Chat line. Oakland Raiders Savage. Raider Dave Monzo. Yes, Cap, bro, I cannot wait till we get this documentary going. You called it, man, that he deserved to be in there. When I saw you in this chat line and Ken started talking about that, I had to make sure I said his name. Raider Dave. Asylum 77 in here. Heidi saying happy birthday to Asylum. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right. We got Raiderette Vanessa still in here. Let's see. Oso was in here. Anna Diaz was in here. I appreciate everybody staying tuned. Once again, we're getting ready to go to the halftime show, but stay tuned for the best of replay of Coach Flores from last year. Man, you never know who's going to end up on Monday Nights Live. This year we heard from Trent Seg. There are other players that we're trying to line up as well, but hey, remember this show is dedicated to the Raider Nation, so we focus mostly on Raider Nation here, but every once in a while we get to enjoy a great interview like we did with Coach Tom Flores. So with all that being said, get your calls in real quick because we got, I think, let's see. I know my main Damie, Houston Raider Steve, sent one in, so let's go ahead and get to the phone blitz.
Hey, Raider Homer, this is Houston Raider Steve. I just want to tell you congratulations to Tom Flores and Charles Woodson. And, of course, Violator. My Tom Flores story is the Raiders, as you know, they used to stay at the airport, Oakland Airport Hilton, and they did that for years. Al Davis actually had two rooms combined into one, and actually he passed away there at the Airport Hilton in Oakland. Even after he was no longer coaching, as you know, Coach Flores did the color for the Raiders for many years with Greg Papa and anyway. So he always stayed at the hotel. And so it wasn't very uncommon to see Coach Flores in the lobby or down by the front desk or whatever. So I think it was the Steelers weekend. I think it was like 2013 maybe. And I was talking to a good friend of mine named Randy. He does the podcast, Raider Nation podcast. It's the longest running podcast. 500 shows more. Anyway, him and Greg. But anyway, so I'm sitting here talking to Randy, just having something to eat, and it was after they'd won against the Steelers, 2013. And Randy looks over and he says, "Hey, Steve, remember you said your favorite coach, you'd like to meet him sometime." He says, "So he's over there in the other room, and he's eating all by himself." And it was. You could see in the other room and everything. It was all open air. No walls, and he was just sitting there quietly eating by himself. I guess he did that a lot. And I said, "Well, I don't want to interrupt him and everything because he's having his meal and this is his downtime. So I'm being respectful." And then finally he got up and left, and he happened to start walking right towards us. And Randy saw him, and he says, "He's walking right this way." And so I, very politely said, "Coach Flores," I said, I'm a big fan of yours. Go back many years. I said, I live in Texas. Is there any way I could just get one picture with you? And he was very gracious and everything. Yeah, and we had a picture taken together, and I told him how much I appreciate his coaching and what a trailblazer he was, and how much it meant to me to be able to get a picture with him. And after that, all these people started walking up to him. I'm sure he was thinking, oh, my gosh, if I stop, all these people are going to be asking me for my autograph pictures and everything else. But I thank him very much for his time. Anyway, so real quick, whenever he went to the games, he always parked and walked across the parking lot, and then he would pick up his tickets at will call. Here's won 2 Super Bowls, and he still, wants to be a regular guy, parking like everybody else, and then getting his tickets at the will call window. You'd see him go up there and pick up his tickets and identify himself. And I thought, oh my gosh, is that not unbelievable or what? Man, that's pretty awesome. Of course, he and his wife flew in the day of the game from Palm Springs area. So that's my Tom Flores. So glad he's going in. God bless. Bye.
And now it's time for Raider Homer's halftime show, featuring Oakland Raider Savage, the Raider Puppet, and Raider Homer. All right, Raider Nation, thank you for staying tuned. Here we go, Monday Nights Live, Raider Homer's halftime show featuring Oakland Raider Savage and the Raider Puppet. Look, man, these guys have been working their asses off, man, and I'm happy to call them a part of the Raider Homer channel. Savage is always coming with some unique and great content. And then, of course, the Raider Puppet is just everywhere, man. He's the boots on the ground in Vegas. Even though he doesn't have any feet, he's still the boots on the ground in Vegas. He's done his great work. This guy gets into everything. And the content that he's got coming up, you're really going to like. So, with that being said, make sure you go check out Puppet Vision, which video was released last Wednesday. That video was released last Wednesday. Give it a look. That is, of course, when Puppet went to the Garth Brooks concert at Allegiant Stadium and got footage of Garth Brooks holding up the Raider flag like if it was his cape, which I thought was cool because I was a Garth Brooks fan when I was a kid. So it was cool to get Garth Brooks footage here, on the Raider Homer channel and have it related to the Raiders. So, as Raider Puppet says, we are working on a variety show, a primetime Raider Nation variety show. So stay tuned, and let's go ahead and get to Oakland Raider Savage's tribute to Coach Tom Flores.
Coach, come on out here for a second, would you?
Fill up my whole doorway for
Coach, come on out if you don't mind, with your wife.
All right.
I got something to say to you, okay? Yeah. Last year I had to call you. Mm-hmm. And now, on behalf of all of us who love this game, on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I want to thank you so much for all you've done for the game. I want to thank you for all you're doing for the game now and all you're going to do for the game. And I want to welcome you to Canton, Ohio, as a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I promise you, Coach, that we are going to guard your legacy forever.
It's not when, it's just when it finally happens, it happens.
Yeah, that's right, Coach.
And, it doesn't matter when, it just happens. And it's an honor for me to go in with all my friends and many of my peers and coaches and players and teammates, executives. It's just an honor to be in that room, just to walk in that room, knowing that you're going to be there forever.
Coach, you're the original OG.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about going back in time, all the things that have happened and how big this game has gotten, and you don't even think about these things as you're growing up. Who ever thought there was Hall of Fame? What was the Hall of Fame when I was a kid growing up? Vineyards in Sanger, California, and And here I am going in with my friends and peers and going in with the whole Raider Nation.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going in by myself. I'm going in with my relatives, my family, my Raider family, and my Raider Nation family. We win a championship in the Coliseum, with John Madden, and then with myself, and then we go to LA and win one there, and now we're gonna hope that I'll live long enough with
yeah, you better
one in
put
Vegas.
a few, about 15, 20 more years on
And then, it's just, the ride has been up and down, but so much fun. And I realize when you think about it, when you go around the world, what a great sport this is. What a great country and sport and fans. Not only Raider fans, they love the game. How can you not love this game? How can you not love it? It's just, I'm just overwhelmed.
So it must have been that beer commercial that got you.
That was it.
Is that what you're telling us?
I'm going to go have one of those after when you guys.
Matter of fact, we should call your grandson and say, yes, he is a handsome man.
Yeah. Well, my dad would be very quiet and would smile. Mom never let him talk anyway, so my mom would be very proud, and she could make sure he'd stand up and don't scratch or spit or anything on TV. She would reprimand me for in a warning, don't embarrass yourself, and they would be very proud. My brother would be proud. It's just there's so many people that this is going to affect. In my hometown of Sanger, Oakland, LA, wherever I've been. And I remember one time this young person said, my dad cried when you won your Super Bowl. I said, really? He was Hispanic. He said, why? I don't know your dad. He said, he was so proud that you had won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he just sat in front of the TV and cried. My college coach cried, Moose Myers, when I won my first Super Bowl. My friends cried. I cried. I'm crying now. So this is, like I said, it's going into the Hall of Fame and knowing that I'm going to be there forever and talking to my friends, like John said, we all talk to each other at night. Yeah. I'm very proud of that. I mean, it's such a privilege, it's such an honor, and my family will be as well. They will be overwhelmed.
I'm Tom Flores, and listen to me. Offense doesn't win, and neither does D. It takes both to make me beam. A commitment to excellence to make my team. With pride and poise, we've had a ball. For 3 great decades, we've won it all. We wear the silver, we wear the black. We never retreat, we always attack. We wear the silver, we wear the black. Don't get in our way. We wear the silver, we wear the black. You better listen to what we say. We rock the stadium with all our might. That is what we do. We wear the silver, we wear the black. We'll be coming at you.
We wear the silver, we wear the black. Oh my God, I can't believe they actually performed that song, but that was great seeing that right there. It's a little bit of comedic relief after such a touching video put together. I mean, Coach Flores, right, sitting there talking about how, grown men were crying when he won the Super Bowl and that he's standing there crying going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, that is a powerful moment, man. I don't know any man that could hold back some tears when they have achieved that much, man. It's great to see that passion that he had. And yes, also Raider, the way that he said that about the fan base, mentioning the fan base when he's celebrating his chance, his time, him going into the Hall of Fame, he mentions the fans, and I think that's perfect. That's what we were talking about earlier. I'm a fan of the fans as well as the team, so I'm excited to see the fans go in with Wayne, as Wayne says that he's ready to take the fans in with him into the Hall of Fame. So to have Coach Flores appreciate the fans and the fan going into the Hall of Fame, man, that makes my day. I'll tell you that. It makes my night. Congratulations to all of the inductees, especially the Raiders. All right, cool. Thanks again, Oakland Raider Savage, for putting together that great video, man. Loving the edit skills Wear the silver, we wear the black. Yeah, man, that was a nice little flashback. All right, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to Raider Puppet segment in the halftime show. He visited Cynthia, i.e. Raider Nation Wrecking Crew, for their backpack drive this weekend, and then he got some great footage from there, and got Cynthia to talk a little bit. Cynthia's been on this show before. She's a longtime supporter of the Raider Homer channel. It's great to get her here with some footage, and then they give some shout outs to Coach Flores. So stay tuned, Puppet. I had to direct this little clip for him, but he was super happy to put this together. Thank you, Puppet, for all your work, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the near future, and then the far beyond future, somewhere down the road where we're still working together. Hopefully, don't leave yet. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Hey kids, welcome back to the first day of school here at the Raider Nation Elementary School. I'm your new teacher, Mr. Raider Puppet. Today, we're going to learn lessons on how to give back to the community and a history lesson on the great Tom Flores. So just sit back and enjoy the class today. Hey, put your hand down, Salvador. This is not a question and answer period here. Just hold your question till the end. So I had the pleasure of helping out the Raider Nation Wrecking Crew in Las Vegas this weekend for their backpack and school supply drive. It was a blast. They are doing all kinds of work out there in Vegas to help out the community. So learn from them, live it, learn it, love it. So Salvador, hit the button, show some footage of the Raider Nation Wrecking Crew school supply drive.
Hey, this is Raider Puppet. We're down here at Tommy Rockers here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here for the Monday Night Live show for the Raider Homer YouTube channel. We're here with Cynthia, i.e. of the Raider Nation Wrecking Crew, and some of the homies in the house. Cynthia, tell us what is going on here today.
Okay, we're raising backpacks for the children. We're helping schools out, youth centers. We're helping out anybody who actually needs a backpack. So we have backpacks over there. If anybody wants to come and get a backpack, they can come and get a backpack. But we have like 8 different drop-off locations that we will be doing throughout the week. We already started 2 of the drop-offs, which was Friday. We did one today, and then we will be going on to the week.
Oh, we're here to support Tom Flores to the Hall of Fame. Wrecking Crew in the house.
Yeah, you know what it is. Raider homies, Wrecking Crew in the house. Showing mad love to Tom Flores. About time. NFL way past due, giving you your respect. That's what's up, Coach. Hall of Fame.
Proud to be a Mexican American. Tom Flores, glad for you to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Let's get it.
You opened a lot of opportunities for Hispanic Americans. Let's get that jacket. Yeah.
Tom Flores, long time coming, like many other Raiders. We congratulate you. We love you. Flores.
Tom Flores. Yeah.
All right, Raider Nation, that does it for Monday Night's Live, Raider Homer's halftime show featuring Oakland Raider Savage and the Raider Puppet. Shout out to Cynthia. Man, she's always doing great things for the community. You know, she sets that bar high. So make sure you find Cynthia on social media and always be there to give her a hand, man. And shout out to Patrick Mahoney for getting that footage, man. He's out there working hard for Raider Puppet and the Raider Homer channel. He's fallen in love with the Raider Nation quickly, man. He's going to, once this season starts, he's really going to become a Raider fan because we're going to start winning. We're going to be wearing the silver, wearing the black, winning all the games. All right, that's enough. The viewers, they're dropping off now. All right, cool. So, once again, shout out to Paulo Rodriguez for setting up this interview that we're going to hear from last year with Coach Tom Flores. I worked my tail off to get these questions together. Did as much research as I could. And I think I actually pulled it off fairly well. So, thanks for staying tuned and enjoy. It's going to take a nice little break and enjoy this myself. So, this is also a Raider Mythos Theater segment. That's a podcast that I have. Randy Hansen's episode is up, and I need to finish editing Jeremy Brigham's episode. But go ahead and check that out at theraiderhomerchannel.buzzsprout.com after you listen to this, because here we go. Coach Tom Flores kicking butt all the way to the Hall of Fame. So here we go.
I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports. There's a commitment to excellence to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others. Just win. Play hard. Try not to make mistakes. But don't worry about mistakes, because there's only one thing that counts. Just win. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win, is the will to win, is the will to win.
All right, Raider Nation, here he is, Coach Tom Flores, legendary Raider player, coach, and broadcaster. Thank you for coming on the Raider Homer channel, Coach. I'm honored to have you as a guest.
Hey, quite welcome. It's my pleasure. You know, it's a kind of a quiet time in this crazy world that we're living in right now, with this virus so prevalent, and it's nice to talk to somebody outside of the house here.
Yeah, this quarantine is something. It's something else. You know, this is a major event. This is something that we'll probably never see again, and something that we haven't seen since really 1918. So it's a major event.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that you're hanging on in there, because it's pretty scary. It is definitely scary.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You can't be stupid and foolish and think that you're not gonna get anything, but because chances are, if you get exposed, you're in trouble. So you might as well wait it out if you can. But I tell you, I feel sorry for a lot of people out there, because a lot of them aren't going to rebound from this because of the effect it's having on our economy and some of the small businesses.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Once we get past the initial spread, we're going to have to recover as a country as far as the economy. So, we got a long road ahead of us. But, hey, if we stick together and, as you say, don't do stupid things, we can get through this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Coach. So, the Raiders as an organization have produced some legendary coaches, players, and even broadcasters, as well as a legendary owner in Al Davis. Now, Al Davis, of course, went from assistant coach to head coach to commissioner of the AFL, eventually becoming the owner of the Raiders. Madden went from assistant coach to head coach to broadcaster, and eventually the face of a popular football video game named after him that has become one of the best-selling video games ever. You blazed your own trail starting in 1960 as the team's first starting QB, and then you became an assistant coach, then head coach, GM, and eventually a broadcaster. The Raiders have made their mark on both inside and outside of the organization throughout the years. How does it make you feel being a part of such a rich history as a Raider?
You feel proud. You feel good. You feel honored to have shared the platform with those guys and the locker room. And and won and lost games with them in the trenches, and it's just fun. And it's fun to watch the growth of some of them. I grew up in the organization and spent most of my career, 6 decades in professional football, and most of that with the Raiders. But in doing so, I got a chance to see players from different other teams, like Lenny Dawson when I was with the Chiefs, and his growth and into the Hall of Fame, broadcasting the Hall of Fame as well, and Bo Jackson, his development, and, as well as share the stage with Al Davis and John Madden and the cast of characters that we had with the Raiders.
Yeah, and it was quite a cast of characters, legendary. And in 1963, Al Davis came to the Raiders as head coach and turned the Raiders around, going 10-4, which was one of the greatest single-season turnarounds at the time. What was your first impression of Al Davis in 1963?
Well, I'd heard about him when I was in college. I heard about him. He was assistant coach at USC, and some of the things I heard about him was that he was a tough, fierce competitor and very aggressive in some ways, and very knowledgeable. But that's about it. I didn't hear much else until 1963 when he was hired by one of the general managers in Wayne Valley, and I met him. And the first meeting we had was very rewarding for me because he got on the board right away. We started talking football within the first half hour that we knew each other. And it was fun to watch what he had in mind, what was coming out of his mind, because it all had to do with the big play and passing and being a quarterback. It's a dream.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like to learn from Al Davis. But so what was his demeanor like as a coach?
Well, he was very intense, very, he did all. Basically, he coached almost everything in those days. We only had 5 coaches, included him as a head coach. So they had to coach just about everything. So he was on the board every single meeting we had, and especially then we had quarterback meetings at night during the week, during the season. So he was very intense and knowledgeable and demanding, but demanding as he was right there working as hard, if not harder, with you, on your way to success.
All right. Well, in 1966, you had a great year, making the Pro Bowl and being named first team All-Pro. This is the same year that Al becomes commissioner of the AFL and your last year with the Raiders. In 1967, you were playing for the Buffalo Bills, whose owner played a huge part in Raider history by loaning the Raiders money to stay in the AFL. What kind of owner was Ralph Wilson?
Ralph was a wonderful owner. We had in the American Football League, we had some terrific owners because they were more compassionate to the players, for the players. Ralph Wilson was one of the guys. He loved the league. He was the sole owner of the Bills, yet he was one of the biggest boosters of the entire league and helped the league stay in business. You're right. And keeping the Raiders from folding one year with a loan of money very quietly. He was very involved with his players, very involved in the city of Buffalo. I liked him. He and Lamar Hunt were, the two of the great owners of the days of the early 60s, as they call themselves, the Foolish Club. Bud Adams was another one. And then Al eventually became a member of the Foolish Club.
So in 1969, you played with the Bills and the Chiefs, and this is the year you win your first Super Bowl, and that's after the Chiefs beat the Raiders in the AFL Championship game. What is the perception of the Raiders and Al Davis from the other sideline in those days?
Nothing but respect. nothing but respect and intense rivalry, intense aggression, knowing that when you were playing them, it was a battle, and you never stopped, because they could win in the last seconds as well as we could win in the last seconds, and that's the way some of our games were. We respected Al Davis. Coach Stram. When I was with the Chiefs, I respected him, and it was, in those days there were only 8 teams, most of the AFL. So it was like a family. We had very small crowds that grew and grew and grew, and then small squads that grew and grew and grew. It was kind of like a family branching out with cousins and nephews and uncles. And when you were traded from one team to another, it wasn't like you were going into another world. You were just going to another neighborhood. And that's why I think to this day, the fans of the old AFL teams are so loyal.
That's awesome. Now, you have been described as a calm coach, quite opposite of John Madden. And Hank Stram has been described as calm. So how much did Hank Stram have an influence on you overall as a coach?
Well, Hank was very, very organized, very disciplined, very classy in your presentation on and off the field, as far as how you looked, how you dressed. When we traveled, we wore sport coats and ties. We weren't allowed to have long hair or sideburns, mustaches. And so you had to be respectful and look like a businessman and play. And when you think about it, when a player is dressed up as a businessman and looks good, he feels good, and he looks himself in the mirror, and it's going to help him. It's going to help his whole attitude. And I always wore a coat and tie when I was coaching, and whenever I traveled. So I think it was very important. But Hank was very organized as far as his practices. They were very, very precise, and his meetings and his treatment of the players was very good. So every coach that I've had, including all the way to high school, I've taken a little bit of them with me along my way as far as my philosophy is concerned.
That's cool. All right, so what is one thing that all NFL fans should know about the old AFL?
That we were a dream, started as a dream, and we woke up and became a football team and became a football league. And without us, football wouldn't be what it is today, because we punched it in the mouth and made it better, and we got the NFL to take note, and they in return stepped it up a notch too. So the competition was tremendous, and that's what we helped make it what it is today.
After you retire as a player, you began your coaching career in Buffalo as an assistant in 1971. Your return to Oakland in 1972 is just the beginning of former Raider players returning to coach the Raiders. How did your return to Oakland unfold?
Well, I had when I went to Buffalo, it was just for a one-season commitment, and so after the season was over, I returned to the Bay Area, where I had my home and my family was, and I went in and I had coffee with Al Davis, and because he and I maintained a relationship, even though I was with Kansas City and with Buffalo as a player, and even as an assistant coach. So he always said, when you're done, see, come back and we'll talk. So I did, and so it just so happened that they had an opening for a receiver, wide receiver, tight end coach, and eventually quarterbacks. But so he set up an interview with John Madden, and we talked and had lunch, and then he hired me. But they hired me, and I started working. And it was an easy transition, because I never left the Raiders. I mean, I might have been gone physically, but I was always a Raider.
So what was it like coaching Fred Biletnikoff and Cliff Branch as a wide receivers coach?
Well, coaching Fred was easy because Fred and I played together. I threw him his first pass when he was a rookie. His first touchdown, his first drop, his first everything. And then I came back and I was coaching him. So I knew him well. And Cliff Branch got there the same time I did. So he was a rookie along with me. So I had to teach him. And he was just a guy that could run like a deer, that had talent, and a track guy that could actually play football. And but we had to, if you can believe this, I had to teach him how to slow down. He was so fast because he was close to qualifying for the Olympics that year until he strained a hamstring. So I had to teach him that. I had to teach him some of the other things. He was a quick learner, and it took him a while. But his third year, he became an All-Pro, and the rest was history as far as I'm concerned. He should be in the Hall of Fame because of what he's done, not only on the field, but in the postseason games. His record is still one of the best. And so it was fun. It was fun watching him grow, and until, unfortunately, we lost him earlier this, we lost him recently. He was always a dear friend, always a big smile.
By the time Super Bowl 11 rolls around, you've worked with Al Davis, Hank Strand, and now John Madden. What influences did John Madden have on you?
Well, John was a fierce competitor. John was very good on game days. He was on the sideline, as you know and noted earlier. He was a bear on the sideline because he was into the game, and it could be 0 degrees. He'd still have a short sleeve shirt on with a tie, that string tie he had. But that was John, and he would motivate that way, and his players knew him. That's the way he coached, and he didn't change. He was consistent in that respect. And I was different. I was a quiet guy, so I had to keep the sanity in the press up in the coach's box, and sometimes I had to. John and I would commiserate and discuss some of the things in the quiet of the night. But we worked very well. I thought we worked very well together. I thought we complemented each other together, and I knew who the head coach was, and I respected that. And I, at some point, I'd hope that I would get a chance to be head coach, but I didn't think I'd be there. He kind of fooled me when he did. Caught me by surprise when he retired, but I could tell he was wearing down at the end of his career. After 10 years, he had an ulcer, and he was worn out. He was tired. Time to step back, and that was the best move he could have made, because from there he went on to big time stardom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, the Raiders have a list of players and coaches that went on to contribute to the game in one way or another. And in Super Bowl 11, Art Shell wins his first Super Bowl on his way to becoming the first black coach. And Gene Upshaw goes on to become president of the Players Association. So what kind of relationship did you have with Art and Gene?
Oh, I had a good one, because Gene I played against, and Art was there in those years too. And I got to know them a little bit during the off season. And then when I came back, 7 years I was assistant coach. I got to know those guys real well. And when I became head coach, it wasn't a big change for them, because I didn't change anything. We still continued to work similar to what we were doing before under John. But a little bit had to have my personality in it. And we still had the same philosophy, because this philosophy actually was Al Davis' philosophy. And so it was not a hard transition, and as I said, John and I worked well together, and I was happy because he finally got a chance. We were knocking on the door so many times. Finally, he got a chance to win his first Super Bowl, and I was proud to be a part of it.
The Raiders had some great QBs in the 60s and 70s, starting with you, LaMonica and Blanda, Stabler and Plunkett, and you watched Stabler in his heyday with the Raiders. So what kind of advice did you give Ken Stabler in 1972 when he only started one game?
Well, he had, I got there in '72, and Kenny had already been there, and we opened the competition up. John opened the competition for the starting job, and Snake actually won the starting job that year. And we opened up, and his first game was horrendous because he threw interceptions. Some were not his fault. Some tipped off the fingertips and or batted up in the air, and things just didn't go smoothly for him. So once again, we went back to La Monica, and Darryl had a good year for us, and he helped helped us make the playoffs, and that was the Immaculate Reception year, and Snake almost won that coming off the bench in Pittsburgh. The following year, Snake legitimately won the starting job and kept it all year long. But Snake was fun. I mean, Darryl was a good quarterback. He was a long ball type of guy. Snake was more of a gunslinger. Snake was fun on the field, off the field, sometimes too much off the field, but he was fun. and he didn't change from Monday through Sunday. He didn't change. He was Snake. Loose, and a competitor like you've never seen before.
You won a Super Bowl with Stabler, and just 4 years later, you beat him in the playoffs on the way to your first Super Bowl as head coach. Did you speak with Ken after the Raiders beat the Oilers in the playoffs?
Well, not very much. Just congratulated us afterwards on the field, but I didn't we didn't have a chance to. They took off. They got in the plane and flew back to Houston, and I didn't see him again until somewhere during the off season. But when we traded him, I did not want to trade him because he still had a lot of fire in his arm and his competitive spirit, and he wasn't done. But he kind of wanted to go. Al wanted to make a change, and so we decided. We were actually down here in Palm Springs for league meetings. This is where I live now. And when we traded Kenny, and I talked to him on the phone the day we traded him, and we discussed it. And it was a very personal conversation. But at the end of it, I wished him well and told him that that's what we were going to do.
In 1979, you became head coach of the Oakland Raiders. Did John Madden have any advice for you as you became head coach of the Oakland Raiders?
No, he really didn't. I interviewed with Al, and John just kind of relaxed and went off and spent some downtime. But I never did talk to him before any interviews or after I got the job, other than just a socially here and there. But we never did talk about them. And we had talked a lot about X's and O's during that 7 years as an assistant coach. The late nights we worked and working about what to do here, how to do it here. And so there didn't seem to be a lot to talk about because I was not going to change that much. I wasn't coming into, once again, I was not coming into a strange environment. I was coming into an environment that I had been in for 7 years and with John. So there wasn't a lot to discuss as far as that is concerned. But we maintained a friendship over the years. And when you're involved in football, you don't have a lot of time to socialize. And then he got so darn busy with his television that he was always on his bus going across the country. Stopping I would have had a better chance to just stop at Hoboken, Kansas or something and wait in a coffee shop for him.
In 1980, you led the team to Super Bowl 15, its second Super Bowl in 4 years, with 14 new players. But the road to Super Bowl 15 wasn't easy as the Raiders came into the playoffs as a wild card team and had to stop Earl Campbell and the Oilers, the Browns in a close game, and the high-flying offense of the Chargers. Now, the division game versus the Browns came down to the final drive when the Browns turned it over in the end zone to essentially end the game. And I got Ira Matthews' take on this question, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. What was going through your head when Cleveland threw the ball instead of kicking a field goal?
Well, let me preface that a little bit by saying, when we came out at halftime, it was our choice, whether to receive or kick. So we had ticked off in the first half, and we had the first half because we lost the toss. So I came out in the second half, and I just felt that side of the field, I did not want to be there in the fourth quarter because this was such a tight game because it was going to be frozen. So I chose to defend rather than to receive, and they got the ball again. But that's what happened at the end of the game when they're driving. They got a good drive going, just like they had won many, many games. They called themselves the Cardiac Kids that year. They were driving down there, and it didn't surprise me that they went for the field goal because, it didn't just surprise me that they went for the pass because they had a kick blocked earlier going the same way. It was all ice, and they had a conventional kicker, and he couldn't get the ball off the ground. So the reason they threw that pass is they had gotten that far by doing those things. They were the Cardiac Kids. They'd throw the ball, 4th and 1, 4th and 10, 3rd and 15. They late in the game to win the game. So the fact that Mike Davis made a great play, caught the ball, and Mike Davis was probably not the best hands in our defensive secondary, but that day it didn't matter. I don't think you could feel his hands anyway. It was so cold. It was 39 below chill factor. My God,
Ooh.
I don't know how those guys stood it out there. I had so many clothes on. If I'd fallen down, I couldn't have got up. But anyway, Mike made the interception. It was $1 million interception, and we were halfway back to Oakland by the time we all thawed out and realized that we were going to the championship game again on the road, again against a team that really had a great offense, and that was Dan Fouts and the Chargers.
As I mentioned earlier, you saw Stabler come off the bench to have a stellar career. As head coach, you watched Jim Plunkett come off the bench and redeem his career. How confident were you that Jim could step right in and help lead us to the Super Bowl?
Well, I didn't know that. I liked Jim. I liked him in college, followed him because he was from the Bay Area, went to Stanford, and I watched him in New England. I coached against him my 1 year in Buffalo when he was a rookie, and then watch him just get beat up, and then come to the Niners. And I thought he was through. I really did. We played him in preseason the year we picked him up in '78. And I watched him warm up. I said, boy, there's something wrong in his arm. I thought his arm was shot. Well, when they let him go, Ron Wolf, there's another name that started with the Raiders, ended up in the Hall of Fame, Ron Wolf. He brought him over, and I worked him out, and John Madden and Al Davis and Ron Wolf watched. I wanted to see if he physically was able to do the things that we would want. And there was nothing wrong with him physically. I mean, his arm was still strong. He could still move. He never was a real nimble-footed guy, but he was a big game kind of guy. Made big plays in big games, always did, all through college. And so I recommend we sign him. So we decided to sign him, and he just made him third string. No pressure. He didn't have to play the rest of the year. And then in '79, he came back, and then that's where we made the trade. Pastor and he were the quarterbacks, and in '80, and before the '80 season, that's when we made the trade. And by all rights, Jim should have probably been the starter, but we traded a starter for a starter. And when Pastor went down, Jim came, and we were just struggling to stay alive. But Jim rose, like I said, he made big plays in big games, and he certainly did for us. He gave us incredible stability at a position that was a little shaky.
The Raiders have had so many great running backs over the years. You coached your fair share with Marcus and Bo, to name a couple. But Kenny King had a solid career and helped propel the Raiders into their second Super Bowl and contributed big time in Super Bowl 15. Talk about Kenny King and his contributions to the Raiders as a running back.
Well, we got Kenny. I didn't know that much about him, but Rod Wolf and Al Davis certainly did. And what he had great speed, explosion, and so he was a running back. He was an explosive running back, which he proved that year, and gave us. We were looking for somebody like that, and so he gave us that kind of a back out of the backfield. We were able to throw the ball to him out of the backfield, as we did in the Super Bowl 15 when we caught the ball and went 70 or whatever yards for a touchdown. So that he just and he was a good guy. He was a tough kid, and then when we drafted, it's interesting that when we drafted Marcus, he didn't feel threatened at all because he just moved over and he played some fullback for us. So it was Marcus and he in the backfield at the same time. Marcus' rookie year, and but Kenny King was just a great explosive player.
So Rod Martin had a game for the ages in Super Bowl 15. Of course, Jim Plunkett got the MVP and he deserved it. But talk about Rod's performance in Super Bowl 15.
Well, there's no question in my mind they should have had a dual MVP. They did it with Dallas. They had two guys as MVPs because Jim had a great, almost a perfect day as a quarterback, and 3 interceptions in one game by one guy. That's huge.
Yeah.
And why can't you give one to him too as well? There's no rule to say you can't. So I thought whenever I introduce him, I always introduce him as a defensive player of the game, MVP, which he should have been. And Rod was a guy that we took who was a skinny guy out of USC, talented, could run, but we cut him, and then we brought him back. We cut him again, brought him back, and then he finally made our team as a special team player, and then became the All-Pro and Pro Bowl player that he was, and helped us win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, he also recovered a fumble on a kick return to save the Raiders from a turnover and a possible momentum shift. So, yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah. How can you have any better game than that? I mean, that's incredible,
Yeah. Shortly after Super Bowl 15, Art Shell retired as a player, and in the 1989 season becomes the Raiders head coach. What kind of influence do you think you had on Art Shell's coaching approach?
Well, I think the organization, the practices, the coaches' meetings, I tried to keep those disciplined and consistent so that the coaches would have, they could plan their day and their night and their week and get the job done. And then Art knew his limitations, so he let the coaches coach, like the passing game. He knew the running game, but the passing game, but he got involved in that, but not as the one who designed it, but just to get involved because he had to approve everything, obviously. But he was a Raider. He was also a family guy. He was a Raider. He grew up as a player, assistant coach, never left the Raiders. Eventually he did after but he was at Kansas City for a short stint. But I'd like to think I had a lot of influence on him, but mainly because we were good friends and we knew how to win.
All right, Raider Nation, thank you for staying tuned. That was part 1 of Coach Flores' best of interview here on the Raider Homer channel on Monday nights live. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. Go ahead and go grab your beer, take a leak, do whatever you got to do. Come back for part 2. Oh, I'm rhyming now. We wear the silver, we wear the black, we are gonna win. Yeah, okay. Anyways, let's take a look at the chat line. Raider Travis in here, driving home while listening to Raider Homer interview Tom Flores. Doesn't get any better, man. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for every time that you share. You know, dude, I appreciate that very, very much, man. Jesus Soria is in here. That's what's up, Homer. You got Flores as a guest. Fuck. P.U. Yeah. David said don't say that word anymore, so I'm not going to read that last little part. But yeah, appreciate that. Let's see. Who else we got? Asylum in here. We got Heidi Stabbert was still in here. Heidi, did you see yourself in that video for just before the halftime show showed up? Let's see. We got Oakland Raider Savage was in here. Also Raider was in here. Lots of people in the chat line keeping it going. Yeah, stick to my day job. Come on, man. The rapping Homer, dude. That's my new job, man. It's my new job. All right, cool. All right, once again, shout out to Polo Rodriguez for setting up this interview last year. I'll be in the Hall of Fame, or in Canton for the Hall of Fame this weekend, running around with Polo. You know, man, this is a big weekend. We'll meet up with Ken Thomson, looking to meet up with Wayne, Captain Jack. I mean, it's a who's who over there this weekend, I'm telling you. Amanda, Black Widow's going to be there. Super excited. Super excited. Yeah, no singing. I know. No singing and no dancing, all right? That's the rules. Okay, I won't sing anymore. All right, cool. So, once again, thank you to everybody that's in the chat line and everybody that stayed tuned in, everybody that's liked. Please share, follow, like, subscribe, everything that you can. I appreciate the support. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get to part 2 of this first best of interview with Coach Tom Flores.
I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports. There's a commitment to excellence to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others. Just win. Play hard. Try not to make mistakes. But don't worry about mistakes, because there's only one thing that counts. Just win. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win, is the will to win, is the will to win.
In 1982, the Raiders moved to L.A., but the team practiced in Oakland and then traveled to L.A. to play home games. How did you hold the team together in such a chaotic year?
Well, that was a funny time. You think about it. We had 8 straight weeks with no football, and we were 2-0 at the time, and the season was going to be shorter. We knew that. But we were able to squeeze it in, 11 games, and I think it was 11 games. Anyway, so we didn't make a big deal out of it. The fact that we were in a strange town, not a strange town, but a different town, and we didn't spend any time there. We would fly in the night before and play the game, and then fly back to Oakland right after the game. So we were only there one night a week. But every game that we played that year was an away game, and that was a tough part. I was coach of the year that year because of the incredible oddity of the season, and we made the playoffs, and we're by all rights, we should have gone further than we did, but we did make the playoffs that year. We only lost one game during the season.
The very next year, the Raiders win their third Super Bowl in 3 years with you at the helm. Al Davis was quoted as saying that it was the greatest Raider team of all time. How did it make you feel to hear Al call your '83 team the best ever?
Well, it makes me feel good. I mean, especially on national television. I got to talk to the President Reagan that year after the game, and we had a marvelous team. You look at the Pro Bowl, All Pros, Hall of Famers that we had. We had Mike Hayes. Mike Hayes kind of solidified our defense that year when we made the trade right at the end of the trade deadline and got him from New England. Then we had Mike Hayes and Lester Hayes. And we had Van McElroy, Mike Davis in the backfield, and 3 of them were Pro Bowl players that year. We had Ted Hendricks and Ron Martin, Pro Bowl players, Matt Millen, Pro Bowl player, linebacker. We had Howie Long, Greg Townsend. That was on defense. And then we had Ray Guy as a punter. We had Pluckett, Swift Branch, Todd Christensen, Marcus. Oh yeah, I forgot Marcus out. so we should have won. Those are great players.
Yeah, that was a great team. And as you were just talking about, there were a lot of great defenders on that team. And you did mention Greg Townsend, who became the Raiders' all-time sack leader, and that was his rookie year in 1983. Did you know right away that Greg was a great player?
Well, no, I it's an interesting story there because at Long Beach, I had a friend when I was coaching at Long Beach City College, and we played junior college ball together at Fresno City College when we were both young teenagers. And he told me about it. He said, keep an eye on this guy. And he bet you, Dave, I remembered Long Beach City College. He said, he's really got a motor and blah, blah, blah. I told him this and that. So during the draft, we're getting ready for the draft, and Earl Leggett came in. He was our defensive line coach. He said, Coach, can I show you somebody? I said, yeah, it's okay. He says, from Long Beach City. Oh, yeah, I got to tell you about this guy that from Long Beach City wanted you to look at. I don't know what his name is. I said, well, this might be the guy. So sure enough, it was Greg Townsend, and we watched him on film, and said, wow, this guy, he's got all the moves. He was young, probably had no idea what he was doing, but he could make all those moves. And it just, we got him, and his motor never stopped. We saw that he was, he and Howie Long, their motors never stopped. If the guy ran into the locker room with a ball, they would chase him into the locker room. I'm sure they would.
Yeah. All right, so as we've been discussing, the Raiders have had a number of players and coaches move on and still contribute to the NFL. Players such as Willie Brown and Fred Biletnikoff became longtime coaches for the Raiders. Players like Matt Millen went on to be the Lions GM. Reggie McKenzie played for you in 1986 and also went on to become a GM for the Raiders, helping us build the 2016 team that broke our playoff drought. John Madden, Todd Christensen, and Howie Long, and yourself went on to broadcast. What is it about the Raiders coaches and players that drives them to continue to contribute to the NFL after their playing career or coaching career comes to an end?
I think it's just the love and passion for the game. That's the kind of players that we look for. And wherever I've been, when you have teams that have those types of players that respect the game, it makes your players better, makes your team better, makes your squad better. And then if that's what you choose as a career afterwards, you don't fall into it. You just kind of evolve into it. And they have done it, and they did a nice job. All of them have done a pretty good job with it.
Todd Christian talks about you trusting him, so much so that you called a play over the top to him in Super Bowl 18. It was incomplete, but he brings this up because it meant a lot to him that you trusted him. And trust is a word used a lot by your players when describing you. How much did being a player help your approach to coaching?
Oh, a lot. a lot because I went right into from playing, and I really didn't feel I was ready to retire, but nobody seemed to want me anymore as a quarterback, so I got a chance to go into coaching, and I didn't know if I was going to like that or not, but I realized after a year or two that this was my passion, and if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I made one vow. I said, don't ever forget what it was like to be a player. Because some coaches, they go into coaching and forget what it's like to be a player, and all of a sudden they're the complete opposite as far as coaches are concerned. So you said, know your players. You don't have to go home and have dinner with them, but you have to have their respect, and you have to be disciplined, and you're going to have to say no to them once in a while. And you got to realize that eventually, if you coach long enough, they're going to be gone, and you're not. And that's the hardest thing when you have a player like that. I threw Fred Biletnikoff. This is an interesting story. I threw Fred Biletnikoff his first pass. I came back and coached him. And then when I became a head coach, I cut him. That's how long a career he had, and that was a complete cycle. And it was time for him to retire, and so we let him go. But he did eventually come back and coach with the Raiders. So, it's a huge business and a huge world, but a small little community of families. Every locker room is your family.
So the Marcus Allen and Al Davis dynamic has, left a lot of the Raider Nation scratching their head through the years. You can do your own research, Raider Nation, and find out what you can find out. But after all those years of Marcus Allen not being around the Raiders, how did it feel to see Marcus invited by Mark Davis to light Al's torch?
Well, I thought it was great. I think Marcus and Al clashed a little bit. It had nothing to do with football. I don't think it was just kind of a personality thing, and Marcus was huge in Los Angeles, and something got awry. I didn't get involved in that. He still was out. I didn't change the game plan any. And when we drafted Bo Jackson, when Bo came, Marcus accepted that with class and dignity. He didn't like it a lot because he knew he was going to have to share some of the limelight, but he stepped over and played fullback. In fact, that 93-yard run on Monday Night Football, if you look carefully next time you see it, the guy at fullback was Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
With the lead block going off tackle to the left side of the line. And, that's the kind of guy Marcus was. He's a fierce competitor, very classy guy. And he proved it when he went to Kansas City. He still had a lot of juice left and played well and got them, and they helped them get in the playoffs. So, but the thing, he and Al eventually, they eventually shook hands. And Al was, he was the kind of guy, you don't ever want to cross him with anything, but he will forgive and never forget, but he will forgive. So they had mended their fences before Al passed away, and Mark always loved Marcus. Mark Davis always loved Marcus Allen anyway, and so I thought it was very big of both of them, and also Carroll Davis to ask Marcus to light the torch.
With all the people that we've talked about tonight and how they've contributed to not only the team but the NFL as well, I'd like to get your take on the job Mark Davis, who went from being taped up by the players in the locker room to now becoming the owner of the Raiders.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, because he had not spent any time as far as learning the ins and outs of the front office and the coaching part or the scouting part or any of that. But he was always a Raider, and he knew all the players. And he grew up there. I remember when I was playing, he was a little 8-year-old running around the field during practice. He'd pick up the ball, and take off running with it. We'd have to wait for him to bring it back. We were on a low budget in those days. But he knew but he knew what he didn't know, and that was very valuable. He admitted, he said, "I know what I don't know, but I'll hire the people to do it." And so that's what he's done. Reggie McKenzie did a really good job for him, I thought, and so did Jack Del Rio. And but he always liked Gruden, and I think that was in the back of his mind. And when John became available, he leaped at the chance to bring him back. And unfortunately, the timing was bad for Jack Del Rio, but Mark was, that was the guy he wanted, and that was his choice, and we'll see what happens.
Now, you've seen a lot of great players, as we've been talking about. Jim Otto and Dave Dalby are two of them. My question to you is, how good is Rodney Hudson compared to Otto and Dave Dalby? Because in my mind, I think he's the best center that we've had since Jim Otto and Dave Dalby. What's your take on that?
Well, I agree with you there, because he is a good center. He directs the line well. He leads them, and that's what a center has to do. He's a middle guy making all the calls, and he does an excellent job there. So they're pretty solid there because of him. I think the guy that would have been right in that class also, unfortunately, he got hurt as a young lineman, was Don Mosbar. We drafted him out of USC, and he took over when Dalby retired. And he would have been there for 15 years had he not hurt his eye and had to retire because of it. So you're right. I think Hudson is the best since. And that was, Dalby and Otto and Dalby, that was almost a 30-year span there that the two of them were the centers. That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, talk about Jim Otto being such an Iron Man. I mean, wow, the stories that you read, playing injured, multiple knee surgeries afterward. I mean, Mr. Raider, right? One of the original Raiders, as you say.
Yeah, we started out together in Santa Cruz, California, and he started out the first day of training camp. He was lined up with the linebackers, and then the next day he was with the centers. And he was not very heavy then. He was about 28 pounds, I think. And then he grew up from there. But he could snap he snapped the long ball, snapped the short ball, ran down on special teams. He was involved in everything. Of course, we had small squads there, so you had to play more. You had to do more than just your position. And you had to carry him off the field to get him off the field, right until the very end. His last game was he limped on the field, made one block and came off the field, and that was it. He retired after that. And he's still around. God bless. He's the toughest guy I've ever been around. He's the toughest guy. He's had more surgeries, but he is a tough man.
So Carr and Mariota, how do you see this QB situation unfolding this year and into next year?
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be good. Mariota is, he's been a little humbled by the fact that he was, so highly drafted, and now all of a sudden he's gone. But he's going to a team that set a pretty good example of how the very first guy taken in the draft in 1971 ended up taking us to the Super Bowl in 80 and 83. So there's an example right there, looking at him in the face to emulate if something happens to Carr. So, he's maybe more comfortable back on the West Coast than he was in Tennessee. I don't know. I don't know the young man other than I thought he's a pretty classy guy, and I really thought he was really a good quarterback and a lot of talent.
So the Raider Nation is kind of split when it comes to Derek Carr because, we all want to see the Raiders win. But, of course, Derek Carr has gone through coaching change, offensive coordinator change, and the such. Where does Derek Carr sit, as far as some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time for the Raiders?
Well, I think he if you give him the protection, the offensive line, he was having a great year there when he broke his ankle a few years back, and he was on his way. They would be, he was being touted as MVP that year of the league, and then he never seemed to quite recover right away from that. But then also every year there was a new coordinator. Every year there was a different head coach. Maybe the consistency now will help. Plus the offensive line has got a lot better, and they got to, because he can. You keep the game. My feeling is, you keep the game tight and close, he can win it for you in the fourth quarter. He did that at Fresno State, and he's done that for the Raiders. But you got to protect any quarterback you have. They can't. They're not a lot of these Mahomes around that can throw with both hands and create magic on the field. Derek is very bright, and he loves the game. Loves his players, loves the game, and so we'll see what happens there. You can say all you want, he's got to do it. I mean, you can't just hope that he does. He's got to do it because he's got somebody right behind him now.
You had to deal with moving from city to city. So what advice would you give John Gruden this year, moving from Oakland to Las Vegas?
Well, you don't change too much, because first of all, you're not moving. You're going from one locker room to another locker room. It's just the other locker rooms in a different city, and the atmosphere around that other locker room is a lot different than it is in little old Oakland, Alameda. Vegas is a different now. But John, he was in television for 10 years, and so he's seen all the hoopla and that kind of stuff. He's coached in the Super Bowl. He shouldn't have any trouble with that. I mean, that's football. Football is one thing, doesn't change. You got a new stadium. It's still the same size as the old stadium as far as the field is concerned. You still have to get in the end zone, and you still have to play the game the way it was meant. We got to basically, they're not doing anything wrong. They just got to do a better job of it.
I'm a huge Bo Jackson fan, so much so that I have a YouTube channel called BoJack Fan ATX 1980 dedicated to him. So naturally, I would love to hear what you had to say about Bo. You were still the Raiders head coach when Bo had one of the greatest Monday Night Football game performances ever versus Seattle. Coming into that game, you were 13-4 on Monday Night Football, but the team had lost 5 straight games to the Seahawks, and we were on a 7-game losing streak that season. Talk about how Bo changed the dynamic of the team when he was done playing baseball.
Well, Bo came in from the day he came in. You could tell he was something special. He was just, in practice when he turned the corner and turned on his speed. He got everybody's attention, and he was 230 pounds and the fastest guy on the team, and that included probably at that time Cliff Branch. They would have been close, because Cliff was a world-class speed himself, but Cliff was only 170 pounds. But Bo was, he was just an incredible athlete. The things that he could do. He could throw the ball. He could run. He could kick. He could block what he wanted to, what he had to. It was just amazing what he could do. But I only had him for a short time, and he kept going back to baseball. And I always thought about, if you just played football, what you could do with it. Because he and Marcus at the same time, and I said, man, could we have fun with those two guys back there? He changed the game, all right, and he proved it on Monday Night Football. He was big in big games too, as well. Just coming from Auburn, where they were highly competitive, running backs were real tough guys in a tough league, and I think he was the most explosive guy that I've ever seen. And I only had him for a short time.
That's saying a lot, the most I've ever seen when you say that, because, you saw a lot of great players.
Yeah, I had some great, Marcus was the most complete running back I ever coached. He could do it all. Run, block, throw, catch, you name it. He could do it. And there were other great players that are in the Hall of Fame right now that could do the same thing. So there's been a lot of great running backs, but as far as pure explosion, I didn't see anybody close to Bo, like in Bo's class.
Can you talk a little bit about the time that Bo hit that home run for you in Seattle when you went to see him play baseball?
Oh, yeah, I was up in Seattle my first year, and they were in town, and I knew George Brett from El. He grew up in El Segundo, so I got my PR guy said, "Can you get us tickets?" Yeah, so we went down there. We went down there early so I could talk to Bo. So I'm talking to George, and I said, "Well, where's your roommate?" He was rooming with Bo at the time, and he said, "He's out there running his sprints today." And he used to run his sprints before the game, and then pretty soon somebody grabbed me and threw me up in the air, and it was Bo. I came down and we laughed and shared some moments. And Bo, I don't want to stay for the whole game, so if you're going to do anything, can you do it early? and his first time up, he hit the top of the dome. They were playing inside. That ball, it went and hit the top of the dome. I said, "Well, there's my home run, so he can go now." It was amazing. The power that he had, the strength, the speed that he had. When he hit the first little slow grounder and ran it out when he was at Kansas City for the Royals, everybody was in awe. They didn't realize he was that fast.
Yeah, he was something special. Must have been, I can't imagine what it was like, but thank you for sharing that story.
Yep.
Now, you and Madden had long coaching career stints with the Raiders. Now, Gruden is in his second stint with the Raiders, and you certainly know how important stability is to a football team. So how did you feel when Gruden came back with the 10-year contract?
Well, I was surprised it was 10 years. I've never seen anything like a 10-year contract, but I was surprised, but maybe that's what it took to get him to come. It just seemed a little extreme to me, but, you can always give. But I don't know how the contract is structured. You don't know. It could be so many years with options. That part has never been exposed. So, it's a different world now. The money is so different now that you have coordinators that are making $1 million, $2 million. As opposed to head coaches who are making $5 million now, and like in Gruden's case, $10 million a year. Finally the coaches are making, big time money. That's pretty good. Players are making obscene money. That's pretty good too.
So let's talk a little bit about broadcasting. You've mentioned Gruden. We've mentioned Madden. Christensen made it into broadcasting. Plunkett is on the Silver and Black show. Of course, Bill King was legendary. And you yourself did it for 21 years, mostly with Greg Papa. What appealed to you about broadcasting?
Well, broadcasting to me was like being in the game, and that's the way I approached it. I had my depth chart. I filled it out with little notes on players, and then I would watch game film of the team that we're going to play, and then I put myself in the huddle when I was trying to call the game. Put myself on the field, on the sideline, in the huddle, and go and tell people what actually was going on that maybe they weren't seeing, because radio is different than TV. You have to broadcast what the people are looking at, not necessarily what everything that's going on, but what they're looking at. That's what you talk about. Radio, you can talk about anything you want, including what goes on the bench, what goes on on the far side of the field. There's an altercation or stuff like that. So I enjoyed that part, and it kept me involved in the game. That was my, I guess, my antidote for not being able to play anymore or coach anymore. 21 years with Greg Papa, and I thought we had a great team, the two of us, and we both loved the Raiders. And I was sorry to see it end, but all things have to come to an end. I knew that was going to eventually come to an end.
Did you have a relationship with Bill King?
Oh yeah, I knew Bill a long time. I knew Bill real well, and he was a good friend of mine and dear friend of mine. It was shocking when he went in for that knee surgery and had got a blood clot, and we lost him. He was one of the great, if not the great, radio broadcasters.
Holy Toledo, man! I love going back and listening to his calls. He was really, really great. And Greg too. Touchdown Raiders, but. Man, the Raiders, like I've said, we have just, as a team, an organization, the Raiders have just influenced the NFL so much throughout the years. It's a great thing to be a part of, and it's something that makes me as a fan proud.
Well, it's a fun group to be around, and I was reading an article, not too much to write about right now, but they did have a feature on uniforms. They're talking about the Raider uniform. The Raider uniform hasn't changed since 1964. And why should it? It's not broken.
Don't fix
everybody
it.
else tries, and it's still one of the classic uniforms in professional sports, and people identify with it.
Well, let's talk about something that is broken, and that's the Hall of Fame. There are a lot of players that were on your team that should be in the Hall of Fame. Cliff, Lester, Plunkett, Christensen, and of course yourself. So my question to you is, do you think it has anything to do with the move to LA against the NFL wishes as to why yourself and those players have not made it in?
I don't know. I really don't know. I do know that it's kind of disgusting, some of it, because there is an aura in that room against the Raiders. And some of these young writers and voters, it's more East Coast, at least more towards the East Coast, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what I've done wrong. I don't think I've done anything wrong, but it is what it is. I don't have any control over that, and I just think that the whole thing, the system is broken. It has to be fixed because they're out of touch with reality. I mean, there's a lot of players that should be in there. You mentioned some from years past. How about Jack Tatum? And we're just talking about Raiders. There's other players from other teams, but they can. The modern day voters seems not to be so anxious to just get the latest guy that qualifies 5 years out of into retirement. Just get him in right now. They don't have to go in right away. And how about some other guys that paid their dues in a different era when the game was a little different? You got to realize how the game was then as opposed to how the game was now. And, you look at Johnny Unitas, he made it. His percentage of pass completions lifetime was 48, 49%. Well, nowadays that would not be accepted. But you got to say that he wasn't a great quarterback. Yeah, he was. He won big games and did it the hard way. So anyway, I don't know. I can't criticize because I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that in my lifetime I might be able to get that gold jacket.
Well, fingers crossed with you, Coach, because you deserve it. Now, you've had a great, great career, deserving of the Hall of Fame, as I just mentioned. But it all started in Sanger, California. Can you talk a little bit about what Sanger, California means to you?
Well, it's my hometown. I was raised in a little town outside of Sanger. I was raised on a farm, actually, outside of Sanger. And it was a little schoolhouse. We had 8. We had no kindergarten, so I started the first grade when I was 5 years old. And we had 8 grades and 3 teachers. And that's where I started my educational life. Granville Elementary School, and then I moved into the big city of Sanger that at that time had about maybe 3,000 to 4,000 people. And spent my whole life there. Grew up there, went to junior high, high school, and all through college, returning to Sanger. And I loved the town. It was a small town. I knew everybody in town, all in the shops and everybody. They named the stadium after me, which I'm very proud of. I have a foundation there that I support to this day. And they just recently started their own Sports Hall of Fame. So, we had 3 guys that played in the National Football League from Sanger, myself and Larry Barnes, a punter from UCLA, and the other guy escapes me. But so we've had our share of athletes come out of the Valley, and a lot of great athletes came out of the Valley.
What's up,
San Joaquin Valley, and we're very proud of it. And Sanger's always had a good football team. We got a beautiful school, and it's just a very tight-knit community.
So last thing, Coach, because I appreciate your time. Talk a little bit about the Santa Maria Parade. And how you're excited to go there on September 26th if everything works out.
Oh, I love Santa Maria. I like it up there. It's just a beautiful area, beautiful part of California, and I'm looking forward to going up there and maybe getting some of that tri-tip that they're so popular for, barbecued up there, and meeting a lot of people there. They're good old Raider rooters, and some of the Raider alumni are there, and those are fun times because when you meet the fans like that, it's not a pretentious type of a meeting or an event. It's just a friendly type of event where people are there because they have a mutual admiration, and they love the Raiders and the silver and black.
Amen to that. I cannot wait to go there, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Well, I look forward to myself, and we'll have a Santa Maria cocktail, whatever that is. I just made that up.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for coming on the Raider Homer channel. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Raider Nation before I let you go?
No, just get ready. Get ready because the Raiders are coming to town, and Vegas is getting ready.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
All right, you got it. Talk to you.
All right, bye. Whoo! All right, Raider Nation. There you have it. Coach Tom Flores. Man, what a great story. The first Raider quarterback, an assistant coach, wins the Super Bowl with Madden in '76, wins 2 Super Bowls as head coach, goes on to be a broadcaster or a GM first and then a broadcaster. What a great story. What a great story. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. The chat line has gone. This thing has been frozen ever since I talked to the mistress of the black hole. So I hope y'all all enjoyed the show. And as always, we will get out of here with a message from the Violator. What message do you have for the Raider Nation here and now and into the future? And now it's time for overtime with Dre from Untamed Entertainment.
Got a whole army with him. Now we up in Vegas, we taking the city over. So let the league know that we back, it's game over. That's a real fan, man, that's the realest one that I know. Silver mask, clown face with a smile, yeah, that's cold. Can't let you touch because you know we bad to the bone. Raider Nation on the rise, we coming to take the throne like I'm a Raider addict. I'm just saying, I just had to flex. Super Bowl ring, yeah, we gotta have it. All the fake teams step to the left. I'm a Raider addict. I'm just saying, I just had to flex. Super Bowl ring, yeah, we gotta have it. All the fake teams step to the left. What's up with that? How the fuck y'all do it? Let me hear you make some noise. Hey, I can't hear you. Wait, hold on. I need to hear you make some noise. Hey, let me hear you say this one time. Everybody say, Raider. Everybody say Raider! Everybody say Raider! Everybody say Raider! I'm just saying, I just had to flex. Super Bowl ring, yeah, we gotta have it. All the fake teams step to the left. Ha, I'm a Raider ready. I'm just saying, I just have to flex. Super Bowl ring, yeah, we gotta have it. All the fake teams step to the left. Hi. Hey, that's my new track called Raider ready. We just did the video today. It's all about the mob boss, you already know. Hey, what's good, Madera? 559, we in here.
All right, Raider Nation, here we go with Dre from Untamed Entertainment. Brother, how you doing?
Man, it's good to be back on the Raider Homer podcast. Thank you for having me once again. And for the record, you know what I mean, just to correct everybody, it's no longer Dre from Untamed Entertainment. It's now Dre from Savage Records.
Nice, Savage Records. I wish I'd have got that info a little before, but I was my bad, brother. My bad, man. You're making moves.
No, it's all good. I actually just recently started my own label, so I'm on a new business adventures right now and everything. So this is open up to the world. Actually, no one knew about this until right now, for real.
Breaking news here on the Raider Homer channel, man. I appreciate that, bro. Hell yeah.
Yes, sir. But no, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. Well, shout out to the Raider Nation. Shout out to everybody, that's watching right now. Big shout out to the Mob Boss and Black Eyes, my mom and dad. You already know. I always got to make sure I shout them out. Shout out to the KOS Club.
Yeah, man. Your mom and your dad are great supporters of the channel, man, and you have been as well. Y'all are a great family representing the Raider Nation with pride and poise and a commitment to excellence, man. Now you have your own record label, bro. Your dad with his foundation, you with your record label. Y'all are killing it over there, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like, we're trying to, I guess for funnier words, we're trying to be the Jay-Z and Beyonce family of the Raider Nation. I guess if you want to say it like that.
Yeah, man, and people are giving you kudos. Raider Travis is saying, great performance, Dre, at the Raider Nation Explosion, man. And that's the clip that we played before we got on the phone. Dude, and that was a great performance, man. You delivered with energy, and you did it the Raider way, man. So talk a little bit about, some of your music, because I think I saw 3 album covers, right? But I may be off. Obviously I didn't do my research. So talk a little bit about your albums.
Okay, yeah. So, basically, recently, last March, I dropped a new track. It's called For the Nine. It's actually talking about, my life in the 209. Everybody that really knows me, they knows I'm from Modesto. You know what I mean? Like, that's my hometown and everything. So I want to always represent the 209. To the fullest, and always put a good expectation on what it is to be there. You know what I mean? So that's the latest track I just recently dropped. And since then, I've actually been finishing up this EP. I do have an EP dropping September 1st. It's called Don't Rush Entertainment. It's going to be having some great tracks on there. 4 to 9 is going to be on there. I actually have a new track that everybody's loving right now. That's buzzing right now. It's called Raider Addict that we just did a video for at the Raider Nation Explosion. If you guys got the chance to catch that, that was great. You know what I mean? So that's actually going to be on the EP as well. It's going to consist of about 7 songs altogether. So you're going to get some good music out of me definitely on this one. To say the video is good. Oh my gosh. I can't explain how much the video is going to be crazy for y'all. We have a clip. we got a surprise clip from the video, so you guys actually get a sneak peek of what the video is going to look like so far.
All right, you ready to play that clip real quick? Let's go ahead and play that clip.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely love for everybody to see a clip right now.
All right, here we go.
Dre.
Slap.
Just win, baby. Just win, baby. Just win, baby. Savage. I'm a Raider addict. I'm just saying, I just had to flex. Super Bowl ring, yeah, we gotta have it. All the fake teams step to the left. I'm a Raider addict. I'm just saying, I just had to flex. Super Bowl ring, yeah, we gotta have it. All the fake teams step to the left. My boss is the man they wanna be. He doing it for the team, not doing it for the cream. Putting the city on Oakland to be exact. Cause you know that's where all the Raiders was hanging at. Rilla and Violator, the OGs. Had to bless him up in the game, giving the keys. In the Coliseum, always was yelling, causing a scene. This Raider business trill on mama's, got what I mean. Nice to chill right by his side. They step.
Oh, there you go, Raider Nation. That was a clip from Dre's new song, man. Dude, you got everybody over here. Look, Puppet all up in the video. Great to meet you, Dre. That's from Raider Puppet. I was in the video, man. That's cool, man, that the three-ring circus made it into your video, bro. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. I definitely wanted to make sure that with this song, I was showing what it was to be a Raider and to be a part of the Raider Nation. Like, there's no better ball club than a Raider, football team, and there's no better fan base than a Raider Nation. You know what I mean? So I really wanted to make sure I show that in the video. I want to make sure everybody got their shine on. You know what I mean? All those super fans that everybody knows, and even some of that people don't know, that people haven't even heard of yet. I want to make sure everybody gets their chance to really shine in the video.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. Let's see. What was it? How was it gonna go with this? Man, I just lost my train of thought. Wayne. Okay, that's what I want to do. Another track that you were on that I really, really like your lyrics is the new 4Dub song "Shout." Man, I thought that you really delivered with those lyrics, man. The timing was great and everything. And in there, you said, you had, I think it was My Boss on the right of me, Wayne to the left of me. How better does it get or whatnot, But, Wayne going into the Hall of Fame, man. How are you feeling about that, dude? Because this is a big weekend coming up, man. And you grew up around Wayne. You grew up in Oakland. You are an Oaktown legend, man. So talk about how it feels seeing somebody that influenced, your father, who was your grandfather's friend, influenced your father, and is a part of your life, dude. How happy are you for Wayne to go into the Hall of Fame?
Man, well, first off, I want to say congratulations to all the people that make the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? First and foremost, before I say anything, shout out to Charles Woodson. You know what I mean? Another Raider that's going into the Hall of Fame. So definitely want to give him his praise. Tom Flores. You know what I mean? That's another one. Honestly, the best thing I could say about knowing the Violator, it's almost a humbling feeling, because it almost felt like meeting my grandfather, but just as a different person. You know what I mean? Like, if I could really say, like, another person that embodied, like, someone who's almost as like my grandfather around me growing up, and then now, like, my children as well. You know what I mean? He got a chance to actually meet not all my kids, but he definitely got a chance to meet one of my kids. So to see him and meet 4 generations of my family, like, that's a big thing. You know what I mean? Especially like the looking at the time frame and the decades that he's been, you know what I mean, doing this too. That tells you a lot of history of how long he's been, you know what I mean, representing this team, representing these colors and stuff like that. So it's very, very humbling, but it's also a very exciting feeling. I'm happy for him, extremely happy for him. The word can't even explain that.
Yeah, man, I'm super stoked. I'm gonna be there in Canton this weekend, man. I'm gonna try to get all the footage I can get, dude. Because I've said it plenty of times, throughout my little run as the Raider Homer, dude. That back in the day, man, when I was working at Thundercloud Subs, I had a tip jar, and I just taped all the pictures of the Raiders that I found in magazines. And, I found a picture of Wayne, and I cut it out, and I taped it on there because, again, I just thought that was awesome that a fan like him could really make an impact on the team and become a part of the mythos of the Raiders. You know what I mean? So it's awesome. And then to do shows with him, like we talked to Ken Thomson earlier. We do a show with him and Captain Jack. I mean, I've been sitting there in awe doing a show looking at Wayne dressed up in his full Violator gear, dude. So it's awesome, dude. It's very exciting. But yeah, so
right, it is.
Yeah, and so again, let's go back to your father's foundation. He worked really hard to get that going. He's a really good dude, man. So talk about your father's foundation and how proud you are of your father, because I know you got to be proud of your father.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is something I've watched my dad do my entire life, for as long as I can remember, since I was walking. You know what I mean? So this goes deeper than just, you know what I mean, the mask and the tuxedo and everything. This is something that he's been down hard, die hard to since the beginning of time, you know what I mean? So he definitely had a foundation laid out for him that was just perfect to follow, you know what I mean? Following my grandfather's footsteps. My grandfather was one of the biggest Raider fans that I know outside of my dad, you know what I mean? So that foundation was already laid and set there. So all he had to do was just pick it up and just run with it. So I feel like at this point, that's really where he's at. He's just picking up the baton and he's just running with it. And ever since he ran off, he's been taking it full force. He's been everywhere. He just recently got back. I got the chance to see him earlier. He just got back from Mexico. You know what I mean? So he's gotten to do a lot. He's got to travel a lot. He's got to see a lot, meet a lot of people. You know what I mean? Meet a lot of the players, meet a lot of the organization members and stuff like that. So this really is a big moment for him, you know what I mean, to see him do what he loves, for one, for the team that he loves, but also see him really getting out there and really excelling and really getting out there, reaching and touching people. Like that's the most exciting thing. And it also motivates me to continue to do and travel on the journey that I'm taking with my music and stuff.
Yeah, so speaking of traveling and journey with your music, dude, are you going on tour? I know that you were supposed to go on tour shortly before COVID hit, but all that kind of hit the sink. But how about any future tours?
Oh yeah. I'm currently on tour right now. You know what I mean. So that was the Explosion was actually one of my tour dates. I do have some tour dates coming up in North Carolina pretty soon, and I just recently got a phone call about 2-3 days ago from my dad, and I will be in San Diego for I forget what the people that was putting on an event, but there's an event going on in San Diego on Halloween. So you will see me at that one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, so you kind of cutting in and out, but let's keep on going. I want to pick your brain about this roster right now. I know you know this roster. I know you're excited, man. They put the pads on tomorrow, man. What do you think we're gonna do as a team, bro?
I'm actually very excited to see what happens this season. Like, I'm not really worried so much as everybody else is on our offense, because I know our offense has what it takes. We have the pieces. We just got to put them together the correct way in order for everything to flow the way it's supposed to be. But what I'm really excited to see is how our defense plays this year, because that's going to be the testament to see how we play in the long run when it comes to postseason, going into the playoffs and stuff like that. If you want to be competing against these better teams that have offenses that moves the ball down the field.
Yeah, we definitely need our defense to step up, and get the opposing offense off the field and hopefully give us a short field. If they can do that, man, we're going to average more than 28 points a game. That's for sure.
Right. And then also I would like to see a lot out of Mariota this season. You know what I mean? Like, he's still good. He's still got a lot of playing in him. So I would definitely love to see him touch the field more this season. Definitely want to see him and Ruggs tear it up. You know what I mean? Then we add Waller and Renflo in there. You know what I mean? Get those guys moving. I feel like we got an electric offense.
Oh yeah, man. This offense, Gruden's offense, always like a plug and play. He gets these veteran guys, and they know what they're doing. They just step right in and they produce, man. But yeah, we got. Hopefully, Gus Bradley can do the same thing with the defense, man. Because if we do that, Super Bowl bound, baby. Because we got to get a Super Bowl in my lifetime. In 2003, I was left sleeping in the fetal position for 2 weeks after we lost that Super Bowl. So I need Gruden to erase that memory. You know what I mean?
Right. I would definitely love to see us take home a Super Bowl at least once in my lifetime before I leave this earth. I would definitely love to see the Raiders, you know what I mean, carry that Lombardi trophy across the field and celebration and everything. 2003 when we played against the Bucks.
Yep.
We got killed and we got robbed that game. You know what I mean? But it's okay. We're not going to dwell on the past. We're going to move forward to the future. You know what I mean? And what's to come. So I'm just excited. I'm ready to see, you know what I mean, things take off. I'm ready to see us back in the stands. You know what I mean? As well. COVID's been going on, so a lot of us missed a lot of the games last season, you know what I mean? due to COVID restrictions. But with everything opening up, it's going to be looking a little bit different. So it's going to be exciting to have the fans back in attendance, having the electricity of what it's like to be at a Raider game back. It's going to be a great feeling.
Oh yeah. Hey, are you gonna be at the home opener?
I might. We'll see. I can't make any promises right now. I'm not gonna drop anything, but you possibly might see me there.
All right, cool. I'll tell you what, dude. At some point, man, I got to get you down to Austin to perform at one of our fundraisers, man.
Man, look, I already told you, man. It's already good. I'm excited. I would definitely love to come to Austin. I've never been to Austin, Texas, so that would definitely be a first for me.
Oh yeah, you'd love it, man. You'd love Austin, Texas for sure. But
Yeah,
okay.
I already love Texas as it is.
Yeah. Well, how many times have you been here?
I've been there a couple of times. I've been all over San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, you know what I mean, the surrounding areas. Just never made it down to Austin yet.
Oh, yeah, we got to get you here for sure, All right, cool, brother. Well, we're coming up on about 15 minutes. We're in overtime right now, Raider Nation, so thanks for staying tuned. Here, let's take a quick look. Oakland Raider Savage says Mob Boss and Black Ice equals Mega Powers.
Yeah.
Vicky says absolutely love his mom and his
Big shout out
dad.
to Black Ice.
And then Raider Puppet says he gets down. And then Savage, he wants to be in one of your songs. He wants to rap in one of your songs, man. You down for that?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. You know, I'm reaching out to more of our Raider community and making songs. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, I do have the track with 4Dub. You know what I mean? That was presented to me. It wasn't like I found them; they found me. You know what I mean? But that was a great opportunity and a blessing for them to even reach out and consider me to be a part of their song, because you know what I mean. Those just how we got Hall of Famers that are going into Hall of Fame. Those are guys that they're Hall of Famers. They're legends. You know what I mean? They've been doing this for a while. I'm the new guy. You know what I mean? The up and coming.
Yeah, but man, you coming with some fire, dude. And I'll tell you what, if Savage is gonna be rapping on the record, dude, I gotta play guitar and I'll do backup vocals. Look, here we go. We wear the silver, we wear the black. We are gonna win. What do you think, bro? Am I in?
Yo, we definitely can make something happen.
Bro, picture me singing that with a guitar in my hand, dude. How awesome would that be?
But you got to have a mask on, though. You got to have your Homer mask on. It wouldn't be Homer if you didn't have a mask on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely have the mask on for sure. All right, brother. Well, cool, man. Appreciate you coming back on, dude. Like I said, I'd love to even play some of your music, dude, during the show. So email me some of your music, dude, and I'll start playing your music during the show. All right.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely will be having some more music coming. I'll be having some more Raider tracks coming out with probably a couple of different other Raider artists. Possibly a Raider Addict remix. We don't know. I mean, but little birdie out there, just to put in people's ear. Possibly a Raider Addict remix coming.
Boom. You're just dropping all kinds of news on the Raider Homer channel.
Yeah. Hey, you already know me. I come with a jam-pack full of surprises.
Yeah, man. I know where you get that from. All right, brother. Well, before I let you go, tell the Raider Nation where they can find you and your music online and on social media.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram at Dre. That's D.R.E.__. You can find my music on all streaming platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Tidal, Pandora, SoundCloud, everything. You can also find me on Facebook. I'm actually going to be revamping my page pretty soon, but you can find my page, Dre of Untamed Entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I got my information from, y'all, so just to let you know.
Yeah. No, that's what it is right now. I will be revamping it, but you can find my Facebook page at Dre of Untamed Entertainment. Music on all platforms. Yeah, other than that, that's how you can find me.
All right, bro. Appreciate you, man. Take it easy and be
Appreciate
safe out there.
you, man.
Good
Thank
luck
you
on
for
the
having
tour,
me.
man. Knock 'em dead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me again. Big shout out to the Raider Nation. Big shout out to everybody that's listening to the interview. I love y'all. Thank y'all for your constant support. Thank you for always supporting me since day one, and just be prepared for what's to come.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Just win, baby. Let's go, Raiders.
Raiders. All right, Raider Nation, there you go. That's the show for tonight. It's been a while since we've done a 3-hour episode, but you know what? We're taking next week off because I'm going to Canton. I'm going to Canton, Ohio. I'm going to celebrate with Coach Flores, Charles Woodson, Wayne Mabry, and all the other Raider Nation members that are out there, man. It's going to be awesome, man. Cannot wait. I'll be packing all week, man. Dude. I'm excited. I don't even know what to say, man. I don't even know what to say. I appreciate everybody that stayed tuned, everybody that commented in the comment section. Man, this is, like I said, it's been a while since we've done a 3-hour episode, so we're going to go ahead and get on out of here like we always do with a message from the Hall of Famer, the Violator. What message do you have for the Raider Nation here and now and into the future?
Pretty simple, brother. Raider Nation, I'm speaking to you as an ambassador. Always stay true, stay loyal, keep the beliefs, and keep the faith. We will return.
Hey, what's up? This is Raider Ty Brown, and you're listening to Raider Homer podcast radio show. What's up, Raider Homer? Raider Nation repping good.